3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
Live from the Play Show, yet not overly ostentatious studios of the Infinity Sports Network here in beautiful New York City, sitting on top of the 10th floor of 345 Hudson Street. Welcome on in to what is a Wednesday edition of the Zach Gelb Show across all of our great local Infinity Sports Network affiliates, Sirius XM, Channel 158, the free Odyssey app, and of course, streaming live on YouTube. 855-212-4227 is the number to jump on in. That is 855-212-4227. And you could always get at me on Instagram, where I'm straight flexing, or via the good old cesspool of Twitter X at Zach Gelb. That is ZACHGELB. I got Stuart Kovacs. I got Moist Mike. rocking and rolling with me all the way up until 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific time. And joining us at the top of the hour in studio with his weekly appearance will be Hot Take Hickey, Ryan Hickey, the host of Hick at Night, and also the EP of the JR Sport Brief Extravaganza right here on the Infinity Sports Network. And then an interview that we will air for you at 4:40 p.m. Eastern, 1:40 p.m. Pacific with Rams wide receiver, where they have activated his window to return and get him off IR. Puka Nacua will join us. So they got 21 days to take him off IR and put him on the active roster. So a whole lot cooking today, but I got to start with an alert that I got this morning. And if I'm just going to be honest, I was not happy about it. Because this reminds me, once again, on why the Kansas City Chiefs are the new New England Patriots. Because when you are in that level of greatness, like we have seen from Tom Brady and Bill Belichick and Rob Gronkowski and so on, like we have seen from Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and Chris Jones, you have this crazy ability to make bad football teams make you better. And it's almost like the Kansas City Chiefs are the seniors on the football team. And they see this nice, young, freshman football player coming on in, and you know that the seniors are going to pounce, they're going to poke fun, they're going to haze, and they're going to take advantage of the young football player. But maybe one day, and later in the season, they'll allow them into their group to help better the football team. That's pretty much what Kansas City did. They said, let's find a sucker. Let's find a team that isn't good, that has something good on their team, or maybe that was something that was good a few years ago, but unfortunately hasn't been healthy. And let's go pounce, and let's go bring him to our team where we're not going to ask him to be a stud. We're not going to ask him to be great. Just be good. Just be an able body, and you will get the power of the Kansas City Chiefs blessed into your body to try to go make you a Super Bowl champion. Will you help us? And that's what the Chiefs did today. They were lurking. They were circling. All right, we'll call the Rams. Maybe we'll try to get a deal done for Cooper Kupp. Oh, that's too rich. Oh, we couldn't get a deal done for Devontae Adams. Oh, we were late to the punch. Buffalo beat us there for Amari Cooper. All right, Jets, you're not a contender. You want to go get Devontae Adams? That's fine. All right, Buffalo, you're somewhat of a contender, but we always beat you when it matters. You want to go get Amari Cooper? Fine. Any optimism you had, we're going to take it away, though. Because we'll try to go get a big fish in Cooper Kupp, but if we can't, we'll still take someone who could be a good wide receiver, even though he's up there in age, but he will find the fountain of youth. And maybe it won't be his old elite self, won't be a top 3 wide receiver, but he'll be good enough for what we need to use him for. And that's what Kansas City did today. They called up Tennessee. They said, you guys are going nowhere. And let me give you a conditional 5th that could turn into a 4th with certain criteria, percentage of playing time, and depending on how far we go, as we are the Kansas City Chiefs. And it's amazing. And I get it, right? The Tennessee Titans, it's not where I should be mad at them because other teams could have beat Kansas City to it. And let's be real, Tennessee, you don't owe DeAndre Hopkins a single thing. So you should take the best deal possible. But how does a team like, I don't know, Baltimore or even Buffalo or even in the NFC, the Lions, the Packers, like whoever you want to name that are Super Bowl contenders, right? That look like a Super Bowl quality team. How don't you just call up when you get wind? Because if Tennessee's smart, which I don't know if they are, because that's why they're in the spot that they are, don't you shop them around? Don't you say, hey, Kansas City's willing to give us this. Hey, Baltimore, we'll give Kansas City DeAndre Hopkins for this. But can you do a round better? Can you do a 4? If they're giving us a conditional 5 that turns into a 4 potentially, can you give us a conditional 4 that turns into a 3? Like, how does no one else prevent Kansas City from doing this? Because if it was just as simple as Brett Veach picked up the phone, said to Rand Carthon, hey, I want to get this deal done, and he didn't do his due diligence as a GM in Nashville, that's on him. But if he did do his due diligence, which I have no reason to believe that he wouldn't, are the other teams just stupid? Like, even if it's not a need, even if you don't think you have to upgrade your wide receiver position, why would you allow the Kansas City Chiefs for basically nothing, an irrelevant pick to them, even if the conditions fall through? Why would you allow them to go get something that's going to enhance their team? Why? Why? And that's my question to the other 30 teams in the NFL. And I know it doesn't apply to all the other 30 teams because you exclude Tennessee and Kansas City. Mental math for you. But to the teams, and there's probably like 6 or 7 of them, maybe 8, that could talk themselves into being contenders. Even if you like what you got at wide receiver right now, why wouldn't you just one-up the Kansas City Chiefs and say, Tennessee, we'll do this, we'll do that, and we'll just slightly one-up Kansas City in order to prevent DeAndre Hopkins from waltzing right in and hopping on in with D-Hop going to Kansas City. And even if it goes the way of, okay, we'll one up, and then they go to Kansas City and Kansas City says, we'll do better, at least the sympathy prize, the consolation prize that you could get is that you made Kansas City pay more than what they needed to pay. But I just sit here today and I watch this story for 20 years. You get a player, and I know I'm going to have people that tell me, oh, DeAndre Hopkins is old. Oh, DeAndre Hopkins hasn't been great for the last few years. It doesn't matter because it's a low risk with an extremely high reward for Kansas City. That's the truth. If DeAndre Hopkins looks like a bum in Kansas City, does anyone think Kansas City can't win the Super Bowl? Heck, they're the only undefeated team in the league right now with their quarterback playing like crap when we all know he's great. And he has more interceptions right now than touchdowns. So if Hopkins doesn't work, can the Chiefs still win? Absolutely. But if it does work, and I don't know, DeAndre Hopkins starts to look like 80% of the DeAndre Hopkins that he once was, hello, three-peat. Hello, another Super Bowl. Hello, another championship parade for the Kansas City Chiefs. It's just like Baltimore, Buffalo, Detroit, Green Bay, even maybe a reunion with Houston. I know they have a bunch of wide receivers. Why wouldn't you just say, hey, we'll one-up Kansas City? Let's just one-up Kansas City. Worst case, Kansas City then has to do better than what you're offering. But to allow him to get there for basically nothing, it's like, why? And just because a player hasn't been good in a few years or great in a few years doesn't mean that he still can't find that. Do you know how many times I saw like players only work in New England? And I know DeAndre Hopkins, right, is a borderline Hall of Famer. And the guys that I'm mentioning aren't Hall of Fame players. Jamie Collins, whenever he was away from New England, stinks. Whenever he was in New England, was phenomenal. Patrick Chung, same thing. Like, I could go on and on. LeGarrette Blount. You know, get out of Pittsburgh, come back, boom, you're a champion. There's just players that want to be in a winning environment. And when they're in a winning environment and they're sensing the magic and the dynastic magic that the Chiefs have, it pushes them to find a gear that we thought slipped away from them. And I could tell you this, I don't know if the Chiefs are definitely three-peating. I think they have a really damn good chance, obvious statement. But you know there's going to be a DeAndre Hopkins moment. You know it. You know it and I know it. Now, it may not come in the Super Bowl, and maybe it is Baltimore's year, or maybe it is the Texans' year or Buffalo's year. You know, that's possible. But there's going to be a moment, whether it's divisional round weekend, because at this point, I don't think the Chiefs are playing a wild card weekend. Whether it's divisional round weekend, conference championship weekend, or even the Super Bowl, where DeAndre Hopkins is going to make a catch, and you're going to say, holy smokes. How did a team like Baltimore, how did a team like Buffalo, how did a team like Houston or Detroit or Green Bay, whoever, even if you didn't need him, how did you let that dude with that history, even though he's an aging player, go to Kansas City for basically nothing? Nothing. So I look at Kansas City right now, and here's what stands out to me with them. It's the defense first. And that's the scary part for everybody else. You know, I'll give Hickey credit. I'm not necessarily going to go to the length that he did, but the offensive side of the ball right now for the Chiefs is a luxury. It's not even a necessity. Like, hey, we know that offense is eventually going to hum, and they're running the ball well. Like, Kareem Hunt, look at him. And they'll get Pacheco back eventually. And they're using all these tight ends. Kelsey hasn't even woke up yet. Kelsey hasn't even been good. Mahomes has not been good. They're winning in spite of the offense right now. Because the defense is that damn good. So if the offense could just be solid, could just be good, how do you beat these guys? You better have one of those other quarterbacks, Lamar and Derrick Henry, combination pop off. Maybe Josh Allen with Amari Cooper and James Cook and Dalton Kincaid, a group of guys pop off. The Texans, hopefully CJ Stroud has more than 86 passing yards like he did last week, but when you get Nico Collins back and Stephon Diggs and Tank Dell and Joe Mixon, they pop off. The Lions with their weapons, Goff, St. Brown, Laporta, Gibbs, Montgomery, they pop off. The Packers with Love, they pop off. But even if they do pop off, you don't think Mahomes has it in him to win in a shootout? Of course he does. He's Patrick freaking Mahomes. He's already a top 3 quarterback of all time. Already. He's behind Brady. He's still behind Montana. But right now, I do think that Patrick Mahomes is the 3rd greatest quarterback of all time. And I do also believe he'll move past Montana. I do not think he will move past Tom Brady, but there's going to be a case to be made. There is. And I say that as the biggest Patriot and Brady honk on the planet. You know, outside of Brady's father and outside of the Kraft family, I don't know if there's a bigger fan of Tom Brady than me. Giselle may have gave up on Tom Brady. I never gave up on Tom Brady, for crying out loud. But it's just one of those days where now, like Kansas City and the conversation about them potentially becoming the Patriots used to annoy me because I thought it was premature. But now I kind of just tip my cap. I say salute. You've been able to copy. You've been able to take advantage of all these teams like the way that we were able to. And you could win with your defense. You could win with your offense. They're just an unbelievable team. And look at all that they lost this year. All the injuries that have happened so far. Like when I had that Jalen Watson report the other day, you know how many messages I got from Chiefs fans? Man, another injury, another blow. Like, I can't believe that this guy is now down and he's hurt. Does it matter? As long as you have that coach at Andy Reid, you got that star defensive player, Chris Jones, with the defensive mind, Steve Spagnuolo. You got that quarterback in Patrick Mahomes. And you know Kelsey will wake up for the postseason because I know he's not playing as poorly as he did last year, but he wasn't good in the regular season last year. But come postseason time, the lights were shining down. Taylor Swift's in the luxury box, and he's like, yep, time to put on a show. But how the rest of the league, how 30 other teams didn't challenge, didn't put a roadblock in front of Kansas City and DeAndre Hopkins, it's disgraceful. Even if you think DeAndre Hopkins is past his prime and has seen his better days, it doesn't matter. Because there's that fear that he'll find the fountain of youth for a half of a season and go back to looking like somewhat of the old DeAndre Hopkins. And if he does, hello three-peat, hello Super Bowl again for the Kansas City Chiefs. So shame on the other teams that are legitimate contenders, whether they needed Hopkins or not, for not matching what was a very small return that you would have had to give to Tennessee to go get DeAndre Hopkins. Shame on you all. Don't you want to be a winner? Don't you want to be great? And I lived that life for 20 years. I was like, how does this dumb team give us this player for nothing? How do the Raiders give us Randy Moss for nothing? It's like, how many times did you see a Patriot trade happen? It's like, how the heck did you let them do that? You know, Corey Dillon, you could go through all the names throughout the years. Whatever the thought was of the player at the time, and 9 times out of 10, actually 9.8 times out of 10, it works out. The only 2 that I really don't think, or 3 that I could think that didn't work out, Chad Ochocinco, Albert Hainsworth, and Adalius Thomas. Outside of those 3, it works. And guess what? Even if it doesn't work, still going very far in the playoffs. Still got a chance to win a Super Bowl. Damn you, rest of the NFL teams. Screw you. You needed to find a way to prevent Kansas City from getting a gift in DeAndre Hopkins. Zach Gelb Show, Infinity Sports Network. The AFC East coaching disaster maybe is starting with my head football coach. We'll get to that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
All right, it is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. Let me tell you something. My shirt in that first segment looked so weird. It was getting commented on the YouTube chat. I'm just wearing a polo black t-shirt today. And I looked at it during the break, and I'm like, someone said it was on backwards. I'm like, it does look like it was on backwards, but it wasn't. Because I looked at it, I had that logo right there, and I guess I was hunched over a little bit. But now it looks like somewhat decent. Decent. It's like a little wrinkly, like right in the middle of the chest. It's just a bizarre shirt. So I may have to, this is a good going out shirt. I don't know if it's a good show shirt, necessarily, for some reason. You know, there's some shirts when you sit down and you're right in front of the camera, they look a lot better when you're standing up than when you're sitting down. So that's that. Anyway, something I can't make look better, the New England Patriots. So, Stu, you could understand what I'm about to say because you've had a lot of pathetic football teams. There's a difference going into a season knowing your football team is bad, and there's a difference in being bad and then being embarrassing. Like, you get what I'm saying when I say that.
Definitely.
Like, there are moments, and you've had these moments more so than me, where you go into a season and you say, hey, this is a wash year, but then there's like little things that could happen when you go, okay, I could see that unit progressing. I could see that team at least fighting, where even if they play like a solid 3 quarters and then they just don't have it in the fourth quarter, all right, what else were you expecting? But like, if that stuff happens, and I know that's not going to happen each and every week, I'm okay with that. Like, I think I'm a realistic football fan. I'm not like some of these other dopes around here that each and every year they walk in and they think that their team's going to be great. And you look at the roster and you're like, oh, this roster sucks. This roster's not good. Why are you giving this team the benefit of the doubt? And I said this, when it came to Jerod Mayo and the Patriots, I said this from the day he was hired, and I get it. Kraft said to Amazon before the Jet game, which I did not know this part, that he was the coach in waiting, and he decided 5 years ago, that one day Jerod Mayo will replace Bill Belichick, which is just crazy to me. Crazy. But I thought for sure when you had Mike Vrabel on a bye week last year, go to Foxborough for his Patriot Hall of Fame induction ceremony, and then an acting coach sit in another owner's luxury box for the entirety of the game, I thought for sure Mike Vrabel was going to be the next HC of the New England Patriots. But little did I know that Jerod Mayo was the coach in waiting. And we've had some coach in waiting feels in New England. Like when McDaniels left the Colts at the altar, everyone thought he was the coach in waiting. And then Jerod Mayo had interviews, canceled his interviews, and there was a little bit of a thought that he was the coach in waiting. But I didn't know that Jerod Mayo already got the guarantee from Robert Kraft. And I said this at the time, I'd much rather have Mike Vrabel than Jerod Mayo, but I'm not ready to say Jerod Mayo is going to be a terrible hire. So, through the first 7 games, here's my problem. I did not think this team was going to be good. I had an extremely low expectation. But Jerod Mayo as the head coach of the New England Patriots through his first 7 games has been embarrassing. Gets in front of the camera, calls his players soft. Well, if your players are soft, then the coach is soft. Because the players are a reflection of the head coach. And then there's something about finding a way to eliminate distractions. And sometimes a coach has to undress the team to the media. And you challenge the team that way. And these wide receivers are annoying me because they're not any good in New England and they're sensitive. So it's like, yeah, Jerod, I don't like that you said the team is soft. And the way that you said it, because you took no accountability for you being soft as the head coach. But then these players on the wide receiving side, at the wide receiving position that have done nothing so far. Nothing. Like, if I had a coach say that about me, I'd be like, I want to prove this MFer wrong. Except these players now run to social media. Wah, the coach said I'm soft. Wah. Like, go prove your coach wrong. Even if you have to use the coach as the enemy. So that's the part to me that does annoy me. That's the part to me that is frustrating. But Jerod Mayo, like even in the offseason, it was inconsistent messaging about Drake May and Jacoby Brissett, and he made it a distraction. Like a huge distraction where it made me just scratch my head. And I just didn't get it. So right now, the Patriots are a dumpster fire. And right now, I never, like Stu, you've had these kinds of situations happen with coaches where you quickly know they're not the guy. Like,
yes.
Even though I'm not calling for him to be fired, let me be clear. I'm just evaluating what I've seen in the first 7 games. I'm not encouraged. I'm not. And I can't say he is the guy, and I definitely can't say that he's not the guy. But if you made me say right now, I would lean more no than yes, because it's not that this football team is bad. We knew they were going to be bad. It's how embarrassing they have been and how many rookie moments he's had in just not even a half of a season yet. So here's the thing. It has never once crossed into my mind that Jerod Mayo could potentially be one and done in New England. And I'll be abundantly clear. I think there is a 0% chance, a 0% chance that the Patriots would part ways with Jerod Mayo after 1 year. But Greg Bedard, who's covered the team for a long time, he was on Felger and Maz yesterday on 98.5 The Sports Hub in Boston. Listen to him say there's some in the organization that are already regretting the Jerod Mayo hire.
There were some thoughts during the summer that there were questions going on around the building about whether this was the right thing for the program. There was some second thoughts about it. And that I'll tell you, it's my opinion from talking to people that I don't think Jerod Mayo is assured of a second season if this is a complete dumpster fire. It would be wise for Jerod to get on top of things if that means him going into the defensive meeting room, taking over play calling, something. If this is the way the rest of the season is going to go, a lot of people are going to get fired.
And let's hear Greg Bedard say Mayo needs changes to keep his job.
If this continues on, and look, it's getting worse by the week, and you have a coach who just went to the podium and called his players soft, and now you have Belichick, the deposed dictator, basically like asking for a mutiny to rise up with his comments and whistles that he's blowing for his guys, and it gets worse and worse every week. I do not think it's assured that Jerod Mayo is back for a second season, along with a lot of other people in that building. Like, the Crafts are not going to be embarrassed. And Sunday was embarrassing, and they still have 10 more games to go.
So here's the thing, Stu. Here's why I can't go there. And, I know Greg Bedard covers the team daily. He gives big opinions on Felger and Maz as well on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Here's where I can't get to, 1 + 1 = 2 with what he's trying to sell. So you're telling me Robert Kraft handpicked Jerod Mayo to be the head coach 5 years ago. That's what he handpicked 5 years ago. He was going to be the guy to replace Bill Belichick. That's what Kraft said publicly to the entire world that was watching on Amazon Prime when the Patriots played the Jets a few weeks back on Thursday. So that's one. Then the other one is the Patriots are having a terrible season, even though they were expected to be bad, but they've been embarrassing. Does that second part equal, hey, the first part, we're going to jump over it, and then, hey, Jerod Mayo's going to be out as the head coach? I got a tough time, a really tough time, like a 0% chance, even though I don't like what I'm seeing out of Mayo out of the gate, to think that Jerod Mayo's going to be one and done in New England. Stu, you're usually able to assess these situations better than I have. You are an expert here because you've had a lot of head coaches in your lifetime. Knowing the way that the owner wanted this guy after 1 year where there's not a lot around him, I would be stunned, floored, if Jerod Mayo's not given a second year in New England.
Yeah, I've seen, like you've said, I've seen a lot of bad ones. McDaniels, obviously, was one of them. I guess Dennis Allen was like another one. Art Shell was another one. Like, it's not this bad.
Lane Kiffin,
yeah. Kiffin was kind of in that area too, but it's just, I don't think it's now. If this time next year
different
it's the
story.
same thing, then yes, definitely. But not. I don't think after 1 year, I don't think Kraft would make a change. I'd be surprised.
Now, I know Kraft would give you nothing, but if I had him right here to my right, I would just say one question. Why'd you pick Jerod over Vrabel? Why did you pick a proven coach who's a defensive-minded coach who's had success in this league? Why did you pick the unproven guy over the proven guy, which you have ties to? Why? Why? And you know what I think the disgraceful part of that answer is? Robert Kraft got annoyed at the end that him and Bill Belichick didn't have a warm, fuzzy relationship. And I think, even though he has a lot of respect and love for Mike Vrabel and knows Mike Vrabel very well, and I don't think Vrabel is Bill, but if you ask me who's closer to Bill, is it Vrabel or is it Jerod Mayo? I think it's Vrabel. And I think that Kraft feared, hey, Vrabel has some clout already in this league. Vrabel has a positive image. You know, he could potentially walk all over me. I know Jerod Mayo, even though we drafted him, even though he was a really good player and people were thinking about hiring him, I know Jerod's not going to walk all over me and treat me the way that Bill did. And that's not how you hire a head football coach. Maybe Jerod one day could be a really good coach. Maybe. I'm not ruling that out. But if that's the reason, if that insecurity of Kraft is the reason why it was Jerod over Vrabel, it's a terrible process. And not even just a terrible process, a horrendous process. But you look at the coaching in the AFC East right now. You know, McDermott can't win a big game, but he's a solid coach. I just think he's reached his limit in Buffalo. The Jets get rid of Robert Saleh and Ulbrich these last two games. The Jets have looked worse. And then Mike McDaniel's starting to look like he's overrated. You know, I used to think for a while Tyreek Hill was the most valuable player on the Miami Dolphins. Tyreek Hill is the best player pound for pound in the Miami Dolphins. But even though I only think Tua Tagovailoa is a good quarterback, not a great quarterback, these last few weeks have displayed why, yeah, it's actually Tua who's the most valuable player over Tyreek Hill for the Miami Dolphins. And that hasn't always been my take. But they have gone from being a football team that was in the playoff mix to just being an absolute disaster without Tua Tagovailoa. And shame on Chris Greer for not getting a better backup quarterback. Shame on McDaniel for not finding a way to do more than less with less, because we've seen coaches last year, backup quarterbacks, and have that football team look more than competent, and you have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, and last weekend you can't get them the ball. So Greer and McDaniel, yikes. And especially McDaniel, who I've always been skeptical of. I always felt like, I've said this before, I was on the outside circle of the inside circle of the Mike McDaniel joke. I just never got it. It never resonated with me. And last year I finally did genuflect a little bit. And, you know, I moved off that take. But now it's popping back up. This dude is not this offensive genius and this great, all-time great head coach, this innovative coach that we thought he was. Because I saw coaches in worse spots last year do a better job when they lost their quarterbacks. So, geez, the AFC East right now, It's a coaching disaster. It is really, really ugly. All right, we'll do a Take 5 Wednesday next. Update time first. Here is the Act Man, Rich Ackerman.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
And it's sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Protect your home and auto. Save when you bundle. Get a quote at Progressive.com. DeAndre Hopkins is on the move again. The 5-time Pro Bowler has been dealt by the Titans to the Chiefs for a conditional 4th-round draft pick. Jameis Winston gets the first opportunity to replace Deshaun Watson with the Browns quarterback out for the season, while Andy Dalton suffered a thumb injury in yesterday's car crash, so Bryce Young will start this week for the Carolina Panthers. The Colts have opened the practice window for DeForest Buckner, and Jonathan Taylor also back at practice. He could play this week. The Warriors have a different look to start the season. They'll face the Blazers tonight in their opener. The Splash Brothers have been broken up after 4 titles, but head coach Steve Kerr said the Warriors' goal remains the same.
Number one, be in the playoffs. Like that's our goal, is to get there, and then our next goal is to do damage, and our goal after that is to win the West. Our goal after that is to win the championship. So those goals are all in play in my mind.
One of Kerr's former assistants is gone, too, is Kenny Atkinson, now leading the Cavaliers. They'll take on the Raptors tonight. Former Cavs coach J.B. Bickerstaff took over the Pistons, who will open the night against the Pacers. I'm Rich Ackerman.
The Infinity Sports Network is on your smart speaker. All you have to say is play Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
As the dust settles from last week's games, it's time to look at which teams are rising and which are falling.
And there's an interception.
Zach ranks his top 5 NFL and college football teams on this week's edition of Take 5, only on the Zach Gelb Show.
Alrighty, Stu, I defer to you. But first, before we do defer to Stu, which I will ask him a very important question in a second, let me tell you that it's time to Ask the Pros, where you, the listener, gets to ask us a question. It's brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Simply tweet your question at INFSportsCenter at Zach Gelb using hashtag Ask the Pros. Be listening later in the show. We might answer your question. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Alrighty, Stu. College or NFL? Where should we start? That's question one.
I think we should start with NFL.
Okay. Then I'll save question 2 coming up when we get to college.
Yeah.
Because the NFL, I'll go 5 through 1. College, I have no clue where to start or end, quite frankly. Let me start in the NFL. In at number 5, very good close victory. You pull it out. McManus with the game-winning kick as the Packers just bottled up C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans. It's a good victory for the Green Bay Packers. They are rising. You could maybe make a case that they should be higher on this list, but since they lost to a team that just suffered their first loss of the season by a small margin up against the Lions, I got to put the Vikings then in at 4 and put Minnesota right now, for now, this may not be the way at the end of the year, in front of the Green Bay Packers. So Packers 5, the Minnesota Vikings 4. The team that looks like, if it wasn't Kansas City, potentially the most dominant team in the NFL, the Baltimore Ravens in at number 3. I just don't know how you stop them right now at offense. They always find a way for someone to emerge in the pass-catching game. Lamar Jackson was sensational through the air the other night. You know he will eventually hit you with the big run. And whether Derrick Henry wants to punch you in the mouth to start the game or at the end of the game when he wears down that defense and they have to defend Lamar, he breaks off a big run down the sideline. Man, that Ravens team looks pretty good. Baltimore in at 3, even after the slow start up against Tampa Bay where they're down 10-0. That game, even though it was only won by 10 points, wasn't as close as what the final score does indicate. In at number 2, no hutch, slow start against cold like Minnesota, did not matter. The Lions came to play when they needed to. Jerod Goff the last few weeks has been sensational. Amon-Ra St. Brown I've been saying it this week, I think he's my favorite player right now in the NFL. And that's really saying something. Gibbs is awesome. Branch does his job on the defensive side of the ball, and Dan Campbell's just a maniac. I don't know about you, Stu. If there's one coach in the NFL that I think I want to hang out with and have a good time, it's got to be Dan Campbell. I can't even think of who would be second on that list. McDaniel, too creepy. Jerod Mayo would call me soft. Ulbrich, no. Win a game first. Mike Tomlin, I would like to get an inspirational speech with him. I don't know if I want to hang out with him. Taylor, no. Jim Harbaugh would start quoting like all these random people, even though I love Jim Harbaugh. Andy Reid, it'd be like hanging out with your grandfather. You get a good meal and a good story. But I think if you want to have a good time, Dan Campbell is in that number one spot. But for his football team, the Lions are in at 2 still. Any other coach that rings a bell to you still?
Maybe McVay. He's just kind of like weird enough and smart enough. I don't know.
I don't know. I want to stuff him in a locker, maybe. I don't know if I want to go get a beer with him, if I'm being honest. And then in at number 1, Kansas City. Defense is great. Mahomes has more interceptions than touchdowns. Does it even matter, though? They're still undefeated. And they just smacked around the 49ers when the 49ers were getting begged by Kansas City to take them down. And the 49ers like, yeah, no, Brock Purdy, he's not going to look pretty awesome in that one. So Packers 5, Vikings 4, Ravens 3, Lions 2, and the Kansas City. How about those Chiefs in at number 1? Stu, speak now, forever hold your peace.
All right, what about the team that some might think is the Chiefs' biggest competition in the AFC in the Buffalo Bills?
Can't go there. Here's why. And I think Buffalo is a team that at the end of the year could be one of the better teams in the NFL. Here's my problem, Buffalo right now. Struggled early up against Tennessee. I know they ended up blowing them out. But the week prior, the Jets should have won that game. If it wasn't for the wind, I think the Jets do win that game. So not the greatest performances the last 2 weeks up against 2 football teams that are not that good. Makes me say, okay, you're a good football team. I don't know if you're a great football team yet. But Allen's playing out of his mind, has no interception on the season yet. Next team.
What about the Russell Wilson-led Steelers, who are now 4-2? 5-2, excuse me.
I just still don't trust the quarterback. Like, Russell Wilson had a bad first quarter, then he played better as the game did go on. In this league, you either have the quarterback or you don't. And I still don't trust that Russ is going to consistently be able to string it along together. So that's why the Steelers are on the outside looking at it.
And last one, what about the Eagles? Have they turned the corner after winning 2 straight after their bye week?
Congratulations. You beat the snot out of the Giants. The Giants suck. And Saquon Barkley, you knew was going to kick their ass. So that doesn't really tell me anything about the Philadelphia Eagles. And they barely beat a pathetic Cleveland Browns team. And I don't trust the coach. So that's why the Eagles are in the top 5. All righty. Let's go to college. 1-5 or 5-1. Because you know what? Yeah. I think even saying the first team is tough and then the 5th team is impossible. So where do you want to go?
I think 1 and 2 is so interesting. I think you go 5-1.
Okay. Who do you think 1 and 2 is between, in your opinion?
I think it's between Oregon and Georgia.
Okay. 5. I don't think they should be here, but they are undefeated, and they should have lost up against Cal. They should have lost up against Virginia Tech. It was a high-octane offensive game up against Louisville. But because of Cam Ward, I don't think, Miami is probably the 5th best team in the country, but it's such slim pickings here. I'll put Miami in at number 5 because they're undefeated and they got Cam Ward. In at number 4, I think the coach is a fraud. I don't think the coach is a big game coach. He showed that up against Oregon, but they only lost to Oregon by 1 point. So I'll put Ohio State in there at 4 because of the talent. 3, I think this team is vastly overrated. Love the tight end. Love what I saw up against USC from the quarterback in the second half with Drew Aller. I like Kulternecki, but I don't trust James Franklin, and he was lucky he was going up against Lincoln Riley. But Penn State is undefeated, so I got to be fair and put them in at 3. I put Georgia in at 2. Georgia had a loss. It's to Alabama. I know they played well in the second half, but that's not aging as a good loss now because Alabama, ever since that Georgia game, has really gone down, losing to Vanderbilt, barely beating South Carolina, and then Tennessee, they should have been up by double digits. At halftime, they weren't, and then it cost them in the second half. So I put Georgia in at number 2. And in at number 1, Oregon's going undefeated in the regular season. Remember when we all freaking out with their performance up against Idaho and Boise State? Yeah, now that offense is rolling. The defense is really good. They play Illinois, Michigan, Maryland, Wisconsin, and Washington in their next 5 games to wrap up the regular season. If they're not undefeated at the end of the regular season, I'll be shocked. So give me Dan Lanning, Dylan Gabriel, Tez Johnson, and the Ducks of Oregon in at number 1. So Miami 5, Ohio State 4, Penn State 3, Georgia 2, and Oregon in at number 1. We got a 12-team playoff, and it's going to be fun because there's not a lot of good teams or great teams in the sport. But just trying to find a way to get to 5. I actually think it'd be more fascinating to try to pick 4 to get into the playoff this year than it would to be 12 in the playoff. That's just how underwhelming the overall competition is this year in college football, where, yeah, it's open, but you don't feel like you have a lot of great teams. So, Stu, hit me. What do you want to go with?
All right, what about the team that lost to Georgia disappointingly this weekend in Texas?
Yeah, they were so bad in that game, and I know they almost came back in the second half. And you pull Quinn Ewers, you put Arch Manning in, then you go back to Quinn Ewers. You know, I thought it was said perfectly earlier in the week. Texas did not just look like they were ready for the moment. You know, and one of their own said that in Jamal Charles. So for them not looking like they were ready for the moment, I now have to evaluate them totally differently. And I guess the next chance for them to look like they could be there for the moment and belong in the moment is at the end of the season up against A&M. I know they got a top 25 game this week, but it's Vanderbilt. I know Vanderbilt beat Alabama. Then you play Florida, Arkansas, Kentucky. Like 1 week they're good, 1 week they stink. So I would say it's like, okay, just win these games, and then A&M, maybe you could suck me back in. But for now, Texas on the outside looking in.
All right, we have 2 teams here that have won 6 straight games to be 6-1. The first one is LSU.
To win me over, they got to win this week. If LSU beats A&M at A&M this week, I can tell you this. I can't guarantee a lot with college football this year, but I can guarantee LSU will be in the top 5 next week. This is a huge week, an enormous week for Brian Kelly and his LSU family. What do we got?
And the other one is Clemson.
You know me. I'm not a fan of Dabo Swinney, but I am a fan of Cade Klubnik. And I know they got pants by Georgia to start the year, and they haven't really played anyone ever since. But that could be the team that wins the ACC this year. I know everyone's talking about Miami right now. I'll also mention Pitt in that mix too. I am monitoring Clemson, but that Georgia game still stands out to me. They haven't played anyone great since, so it's the quality of opponents.
And the last one, after their big win over Alabama, what about Tennessee?
If you would have told me before the year that they would have beat Alabama, I would say, yeah, they're then probably a top 5 team in the country. But Iamaleava has been more bad than good recently. And let's see where they are a few weeks from now if they could give Georgia a game when they play them on November 16th. But that loss to Arkansas is an ugly loss. And the Alabama win, it's a good one. I'm not taking anything away, but I think they're a team that's like more 6, 7, 8 than they are a top 5 team in the country. So just on the outside looking in. But close, I did think about that. All right, coming on back, Hot Take Hickey will join us in studio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
All right, it is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. Before we put Hickey on the screen, as Hot Take Hickey is here with us, we'll play our interview with Puka Nacua, by the way, coming up 40 minutes from now. Stu, can you just put me up on the screen and only me up on the screen? Well, this monitor is not working. They're not set up correctly, so never mind. I was going to have Hickey just observe something and see something because you are usually our fashion guy. You could look at my computer real quickly. Okay. So turn on your microphone.
I am
Let's
looking
pretend like we've done this before. This shirt looks horrible on camera. You would agree, correct, Amundo? It looks like it's on backwards, but it's not. It looks terrible. It's like wrinkly. It's like weird in the middle. It's just that it's not a good-looking shirt, and it's annoying me.
The angle, I don't know if it's leaning over, exacerbates the problem, but it
terrible.
does look like. I mean, it's not. I wouldn't have probably noticed.
It's terrible. Someone mentioned in the YouTube chat, and I realized it, and now it's just annoying me.
It does look like it's sort of backwards. I would agree.
Yeah, I don't know. And when I was large, like fat, I got a lot of compliments in this shirt when I would go out. I've lost a ton of weight since then, so I would think, oh, this shirt would look great sitting down. And now it doesn't look good.
Size down.
But this isn't a big shirt.
It also was that performance?
Yeah.
A little dry fit action?
it's a polo.
Well, it's not like normal cotton material. It's like a little sweat wicking.
Yeah.
Maybe that's part of it.
I don't know, but you're like the fashion czar around here.
Wow. Bar is low.
The standard is so low.
Very low. Holy smokes.
You wear like some shirts from Montauk and you do your hair nicely, and then people look at you like you're the fashion guy.
Well, when Puka Nacua I heard was coming on to make sure my hair was looking good, that guy's got some good flow.
He does.
I don't want to be too embarrassed. I can't hold his candle.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You're not a professional athlete. Like, you're one of those guys because you played a little high school football, you think like you're this great athlete. You know, we have a few other people around here that think that too. But Puka Nacua is like, had one of the great, if it wasn't for CJ Stroud, he would have been easily the offensive rookie of the year.
Right. What does that have to do with hair?
No, I'm just saying, like, you comparing yourself to Puka Nacua, like, his genes are different than us simpletons, than us regular folks. Like,
you see plenty of athletes with some bad hairlines, I will say.
Sure.
Athletically gifted, absolutely. But follically gifted? No.
Sure, but when you're comparing yourself to someone like Puka Nacua, no offense, even though you have great hair, Hickey, you're not in the same league as Puka Nacua.
That's what I said. I said I wanted to do it up. I didn't want to get too embarrassed.
Okay.
I can't compete. I just didn't want to like get blown out of the water 55-0. I'll lose by, 3 touchdowns,
Okay.
55-25.
Yeah.
But I just didn't want to, just get in a total dragged all across the field embarrassment.
All right, I got 2 questions for you in the NFL, but I will put them on the back burner. Right now, I got a few college football questions for you right now. And I always appreciate your college football insight. That's why I like to bring you on during the football season. You can listen to Ryan Hickey at night on many of these same affiliates, Sunday evening from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. Eastern Time. And you could also hear him throughout the week as the EP for the JR Sport Brief extravaganza, the show that follows us. Heisman Trophy voting. So as a voter, you get a ballot online, and it's a first place, second place, third place vote. That's all you get. And you got to write in who's your first, second, and third place vote. If you had to cast that vote today, go from 3 to 1, not 1 to 3, 3 to 1, how would you be voting for the Heisman Trophy?
I would say number 3 would be Travis Hunter.
Okay.
Number 2.
Let me ask you.
Sure.
Travis Hunter, he would have been higher up, but it's the last 2 weeks he's been hurt.
But it's also that. It's also, I think part of it is contributing to winning, and I think the other 2 have directly contributed to winning more than Hunter.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's been tremendous.
So Travis Hunter, 3. Okay. He would be one of my 3.
Dylan Gabriel, 2.
Okay.
And I would right now, which I don't think this is how it will end, but right now, at this point in the season, I would put Ashton Jeanty number 1.
Good job.
Probably going to lead Boise State to the playoff. If that continues, he's literally tackleable. I hope that's a word. If not, we just made it up.
We just made it up. Yeah.
He, to me, right now is the best player in college football.
And the 3 games I'm most excited for this weekend, and I'll comment on your Heisman picks in just a second. UNLV, this week, I should say. UNLV and Boise State. Tomorrow, Pitt's game up against Syracuse. I cannot wait for that one.
Interesting.
And then on Saturday, LSU, A&M. Those are the 3 games.
We have 5 ranked on ranked matchups. Where's the Pitt-Syracuse intrigue for you coming in from?
I love the sound bites from both of these coaches, Fran Brown and also Pat Narduzzi. I'm intrigued by both of the quarterbacks. I know it's going up against an Amazon Prime game, but it's a football game in an isolated spot in college football. And I think that a lot of people are assuming Miami's going to win the ACC. I'm not ruling out Clemson, obviously, and I'm not ruling out Pitt. Pitt has had some great comebacks this year where it just feels like there's some magic with them. So I'm just curious where Syracuse is a good program. They got a lot of talent this offseason with Fran Brown and Elijah Robinson being there. I think that's just going to be a good game, a good physical football.
I think it will. No, both teams have definitely exceeded expectations without a doubt. And like
I'm a football junkie. That's why.
Look, I'm watching the game too. Don't get me wrong. I would not put that as a top 3 game of the weekend.
So
that's all.
So you agree with the other 2 being it?
UNLV, Boise State. Again, that's intriguing. In terms of top 3, no.
Folks on KTIK, you can find Ryan at Ryan_Hickey3. Trash him. He's a dope.
Come at me. Sure, I'll be there. It's a great game.
Run through his mentions like you're Ashton Genty for crying out loud, all right?
But there's a lot of intriguing This is a really good weekend of college football. I'm excited for it.
You pumped up for Alabama, Missouri, like every other Tom, Dick, and Harry?
No, I am not. But Notre Dame, Navy, I'm very intrigued by.
Okay.
Very intrigued by.
How about, by the way, Navy and Army both being ranked, both being undefeated, both, we talk about Heisman's, both quarterbacks being Heisman hopefuls. Daly's going to join us tomorrow.
Very nice.
Bryson Daly.
Very cool.
He was supposed to join us today. It's going to be tomorrow. And then Horvath's been a good player as well. Like, both of those schools, we always know they have their game in the isolated spot, and it's tremendous rivalry with the pageantry and all that. And it's a wonderful game. But they could play the week prior in the American Athletic Conference Championship game. You could see that twice.
You could.
Back-to-back weeks.
You absolutely could. And both maybe in the playoff. Like, they both play Notre Dame.
They both won't make the playoff.
If they both beat Notre Dame, what if they split? Army-Navy. What if we're talking about two
then they split the matchups against one another?
12-1 teams?
Well, here's the thing.
It's going to be tough to leave them out.
But is that matchup after Army-Navy, does it even, would they wait? Let's say if, Army beats Navy in the American Athletic Conference Championship game, the bracket is usually released even before Army plays Navy. So would they wait, is my question.
They might have to. I mean, this is a first for everything. We've never seen Army or Navy in the BCS contention, in the 4-team playoff contention. I don't see how can you release if they have one game left on their schedule. You can't release a bracket.
I don't know. Maybe they can.
Again, if Navy loses to Notre Dame this weekend and things could play out, but there's a chance if they both beat Notre Dame.
Do you think Notre Dame's losing to Navy?
I do not. I think Navy's run defense is very concerning, and I think Notre Dame's will stop them enough. I think Notre Dame will win and cover, but I still am intrigued. Navy's running through everybody. Now the schedule stinks, and so does Army's, but they're also dominating everybody they play.
Okay, one problem I have with your ballot so far for your Heisman.
Okay, what's that?
So you had Ashton Genty one.
Yes.
No problem. You had number
Dylan
3.
Gabriel.
No, hold on. I know the order I'm going.
I'm just trying to help you out. That's all.
I'm getting to the point. Number 3, you had Travis Hunter. Don't have a problem with. 2, Dylan Gabriel. Right now. This is right now, not at the end of the season. It could be different. I don't think Dylan Gabriel has had a Heisman moment yet. I don't think he's had a Heisman moment yet. I know that they just had a great win up against Ohio State.
That they did.
But I would still give the edge right now to Cam Ward over Dylan Gabriel.
What would you say his Heisman moment then was?
What about you could go the moment against Louisville, right? With just the high octane offense and all those performance and all those, all the points. I could also go, I can't say the Virginia Tech game. It's a fair point. It is.
I think Heisman moment's a little overblown, but.
So fair. So it's a great question that you just brought up. I just think statistically, Cam Ward has been a better quarterback than Dylan
absolutely.
Gabriel.
There's no argument. I mean,
From
he's
start
on
to finish
track
right
to
now.
put up some numbers that are.
That's why, even though you're right, Ward will eventually need that moment too. But when you're looking at a tiebreaker, I just will lean to the statistically better quarterback. That was a good discussion. It was a good point that you just brought up.
Oh, good. That's what I'm trying to bring. Trying to bring.
And it's one of those moments you're like, oh, look at this idiot gas bag on the radio that's talking right now. Talking about me.
Oh, I was going to say. I'm like, geez.
Not you. No, I'm saying that about me. I wouldn't say that about you. Come on.
That's right.
Only on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
Only on Tuesdays. All right, let's get to the NFL. Well, actually, one more in college, and then we'll get to the NFL. The 12-team format.
Yes.
If it was still only 4, who would your 4 teams be today to get into the college football playoff? It was only a 4-team format. Because I just did Take 5 Wednesday. Jeez. It was tough to get to 5. I went Oregon, Georgia 1-2. After that, Penn State 3, Ohio State 4, and I begrudgingly put Miami at 5 just because they're undefeated. Today, if the playoff was tomorrow, who are your 4 teams in? If it was,
I definitely would agree. Format? Oregon, Georgia for sure.
Mm-hmm.
You have to put Penn State. I'm just trying to think. Is there anybody? I like what the Big 12 is doing. Iowa State, but there's no
Rocco Beck.
They've also been a little put down like Miami. I guess I would put Miami in. There's not a team that
look how difficult that is. Look,
it's also halfway through the year, but yeah,
I get it. But it's 4. You're 1-2, and then it's like, oh, humana.
Are you saying it's a bad thing though?
I just think it shows that going to 12, even though it will work because it's college football, it was too big of a jump. I didn't think I know why it happened, but going from 4 to 12, I just think it's unnecessary.
How many teams do you think this year could win a national title?
This year?
This year. With what we've seen, with how teams are playing. So I would argue this year is the perfect year for a 12-team playoff.
Maybe.
There's no elite team.
Honestly, maybe 4.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Oregon, Georgia, and then after that, you
don't think Ohio State can win a national title?
I do. I trust Ryan Day in a big moment.
Texas.
Nope. Texas and Ohio State would have been the next 2 I would have given you.
Miami.
No.
Penn State.
No.
Iowa State.
No.
I'm trying to think here. What else off the top of my head? LSU with how they're playing.
If Kelly beats A&M, different story. Maybe I have to start believing in them.
Indiana.
No.
Okay.
I think I'll give you credit, though. And I gave you credit earlier in the week. You were all over the Indiana hype train last week. You may have mushed the Mets, which, by the way, I'm very upset with you with the Mets, which we'll get to in just a second, with your inconsistent, fraudulent messaging, which we'll get to in just a second. But Indiana, you said last week they could make the playoff. And they should lose still to Ohio State. I know their quarterback's out for at least a week, maybe more than that. We'll see. But with the schedule they had, they should be a one-loss team and they'd be in the playoff.
They should. They're 11-1, maybe even the Big Ten title game. We'll see how it breaks. But yeah, no, they got the schedule and they're steamrolling everybody.
Okay.
I think this is open. I think the 12-team playoff this year there's no elite team, which I think makes it fun and exciting, unpredictable, which college football's not been for a long time.
Okay. I've had, wait, hold on. You think it makes it unpredictable?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The 12-team playoff this year?
Last year, you picked against who every step of the way? Who'd you pick?
Michigan?
Yeah. If it was so predictable.
Last year's open too.
Oh, come on. I told you that
Michigan was
going to win it all.
College football, for the most part, there's been 2 or 3 teams every single year.
On them the entire way.
Probably knew before the year.
You picked to win it all. Come on,
right.
I thought college football was so predictable of the old. It's not. It's not. See, you got me once. Oh, this is what happened. You got me once in the conversation.
No,
I got you
up until the last 2 or 3 years. It has been very predictable.
It's 1-1.
Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia. It's very there's no intrigue.
We all saw Clemson beating Alabama for sure.
A few years ago, that was not an upset.
No.
Was one of
I'm talking about the first time it happened.
Even just coming off of the national title year, that's not a surprise.
Everyone had it though, right?
Oh.
Everyone had it though.
They were what, number 2 that year?
They lost
preseason?
They lost it. They lost the game the year before.
Right, and so you think that's not that they won the national title the next year?
I'm not saying it's an oh my goodness
was not
upset.
A surprise.
I'm not saying it's oh my goodness upset, but not every Tom, Dick, and Harry had it predicted.
Wow. Okay, that's fascinating. Wow, the team that loses in the
I'm just saying, not everyone had it. You missed their college football so predictable. You had Penn State win a national championship last year. What happened to them?
Never did.
Having the playoffs. Drunk as a skunk walking out of the Rose Bowl. Please, I was wrong. Please.
Couldn't beat the 2 teams that they needed to beat.
You pick Oklahoma and USC, wherever Lincoln Riley. How about your boy Lincoln Riley? Jeez.
USC should fire him.
Wow. That's how out you. I'm not disagreeing.
No, their teams are not
Lincoln
tough.
Riley's usually your guy.
I was a big Lincoln Riley fan, and now you're seeing he doesn't produce a tough team. And you need to have a tough team in the Big Ten.
Jerod, man.
They're getting bullied around. And he's shown no reason to turn it around.
Let me get to the Mets. Here's why I'm annoyed with you. After game 4, you're like, okay, I'm finally starting to think the Mets are in trouble. It's over. Then in game 5, follow me. We're going to win. We're going to come on back. We're going to win it all. You can't tell me they're going to win it all, then jump off the bandwagon, then jump back on. It would have been better. I'm really convinced that the Mets would be in the World Series if you would have just stayed off.
Stayed off what, Twitter?
No. If you just stayed off the bandwagon. It happened against Milwaukee. You said Alonso's going to home run, and then you said Alonso's cooked, and then boom, he hits a home run. The Mets, you said they were going to win it all, then you said they're cooked, and then if you didn't say they were going to win it all again, I really do believe they win Game 6. Winker would have got a base hit, and they would have won.
I think they would have won the World Series. They got hits with runners in scoring position and threw strikes as pitchers. That's not my fault.
Well, they forgot how to swing because they had the Hickey Hex working against them. Okay, NFL-wise, 2 things for you. Where are you at on Jerod Mayo? 7 games in, where are you at?
I'm not panicking. I don't understand why there's even a discussion. He called them soft. Are they playing? I don't think that's a diss. This team stinks.
Here's my problem with it. And I had very low expectations for this team before the start of the year. There's a difference between bad and being embarrassing. Jerod Mayo has created so many distractions. If he would have called them soft, and then would have said right after that, and it starts with me, I'm the head coach, okay, I would have been fine with it. But he was calling out his players, which is fine, but you don't have the clout in this league yet to call out your players, in my opinion. You have not done a good enough job as a head coach, and that defense has done a complete 180 with similar talent. I know Judon's not there. I know Barmore had the injury, had the unfortunate blood clots, but that defense has been terrible this year. So to me, that was my problem with it. Now, number 2. Where are you at? Where is the Hickey panic meter? 1, no panic. 10, alert, alert, alert. Anthony Richardson. Anthony, social media quarterback Richardson. 1 to 10. Where's the panic? Hold on, wait. Don't answer the question yet.
Sure.
Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Bum ba-dum bum 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 bum. I don't have any fear. I think Anthony Richardson's going to be great. You're all a bunch of morons and you want to kill him already. Shame on you. He's going to be great. He's going to be better than Peyton Manning.
I will not.
That's what I think you're going to say.
I will not go there. I love my guy.
Jim Irsay knows what he's doing. He's a sane individual. Let's go Colts. Let's go Colts. Let's go Colts. I-N-D-Y. Indy. We're the best. We're unbelievable. We're going to thrive.
You sound like the guy who sings the Colts song every week.
What's the... Oh...
This is our Colts.
Yeah.
This is our team. Mm-hmm. That's who that voice reminds me of. Number 1.
This is our team. We are the Colts. We're everyone's dream. Anthony Richardson, you're the best. I'm hot take Hickey. I'm going to ace your test.
I don't hate it. I don't hate
Let's
that.
Go,
I
Colts.
don't hate that. That is better than what we've heard on social media. That is for sure about the song. You know what? That's remix.
That was pretty good.
That was pretty good.
Call me White Rabbit with that ability.
My God.
Right out of the gate.
That's...
Oh, what's wrong with that?
Let's go to the workshop on that one. White. Did you give yourself that nickname? Did you give yourself your own nickname?
Oh, my goodness
White Rabbit?
gracious. You've never seen 8 Mile?
I have. That's a ripoff of B Rabbit.
Yeah.
He wasn't even a rapper. He was a friend. That's one. Put in the workshop. The rap was good. The name has
time for you to rewatch the movie. Okay.
2. To answer your question, 2 out of 10. I'm not worried. He's got to play. I'm not saying he's going to be good. He could suck.
Folks.
He has to play. Until he plays consistently, I can't make a determination.
I got to take a break, but can I just ask you one question?
Sure.
If we kept on being told about Anthony Richardson, when he plays, I've had this conversation with you going back to college now.
It's a problem.
And
that's
a 4-year
part of the,
so why do you
part
think,
of the decision.
And you were originally out on Anthony. It's another thing. You were originally out on Anthony Richardson, then the Colts draft him, and boom, you're
all in. That was
in.
more Shane Steichen, but yes. He's got to play. Look, I'm not telling you he's good. Right now, he's not played well. I think part of it is rust and just trying to get his feet under him. If he plays the rest of the season, does not get hurt, and we're talking about this guy who's not getting better, who's still playing bad, then my panic level will be a lot higher than it is right now.
Do you know the middle name of Anthony Richardson?
I have
the initial?
No idea.
Anthony B. Richardson. Anthony Bust Richardson. I just made that up. I don't know if he has a middle name of a B.
That was
he
better
is
than
a bust. Bust.
White
Bust,
Rabbit.
bust. Have fun. You're picking a new quarterback.
Jeez.
In a year or two
You know
from
what?
now.
You know what? Fine. Give me Arch Manning. Let's go. The Manning legacy in Indy continues.
What was that? Say that again? Oh, his middle name is Deshaun. Ooh, that's not a good sign.
Might be time for call up the government.
So we don't get fired. This is Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. We'll come on back in 5 minutes. But first, let me tell you about Depend. Sports fans, listen up. 1 in 8 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer, and bladder leaks could be a side effect. That's why Depend is teaming up with the Prostate Cancer Foundation to encourage screening, because health is a long game and it's yours to win. Now, here's the cool part. Through November, Depend is contributing up to $300,000 to prostate cancer research by donating 40 cents for every purchase of Shields guards and Real Fit products. More to Mississippi. Learn more at Depend.com.
You're in a 4.5 minute break. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
For your daily news brief, we get you caught up on the rumors, reports, and reconnaissance from the day in sports.
Alrighty, let's start it off with Cooper Kupp. Hey, Cooper Kupp, have you been hearing all these reports about you potentially getting traded?
Yeah, no, I'm aware of it, but at the end of the day, I mean, I'm gonna be where my feet are. That's all I know. I have a job to do here. I take a lot of pride in giving everything I can for the guys in this building, and for 7.5 years I've been an LA Ram, and I've taken that approach every single day. And whatever happens outside of that, I got control what I can control, and right now that means being the best LA Ram that I can be.
And then let's hear from Matthew Stafford. Not only has there been Cooper Kupp rumors, there's also been Matthew Stafford trade rumors. So, Matthew, what do you got to say about that?
To be honest, we're pro athletes, we're professional football players who've dealt with this kind of stuff before. Understand it comes with the territory. Don't put much into it because that's a disservice to what we got going on here. So don't worry too much about that stuff.
Have you ever found yourself in those conversations?
I don't know, maybe. You guys would have to fact check me on that. I'm not sure, to be honest with you. But if I was in there, I have forgotten about it.
How does a professional athlete keep that separate?
Yeah, I feel like it's a lot easier for us to do than it probably is for family members and all that kind of stuff, right? They're spending all day on their phone looking at that stuff. We're spending all day looking at film, trying to get ready for an opponent. So that part of it, is it makes it easier for us.
Stu, do me a favor. Play me the first 10 seconds of Cooper Kupp again.
Yeah, no, I'm aware of it, but at the end of the day, I'm a beaver where my feet are.
Can I ask a question here? Don't they sound like the same person?
They sound like the exact same person.
Are we sure? One's Cooper Kupp and one's Matthew Stafford? On my sheet, it says Cooper Kupp is aware of the trade rumors. The other one says Matthew Stafford and Kupp and his trade rumors. It sounds like the same person. Play it.
Which one is this?
To be honest, we're pro athletes. We're professional
Stafford.
football players.
Now play me Kupp.
Yeah, no, I'm aware of it, but at the end of the day,
they sound like the same person.
Yeah, it's very close.
I just knew the second one was Stafford because of the fact that you just played it for me and the way that he started that off. That's a spinning image. That's creepy. I've never realized that. If in fact, someone could have labeled them wrong, a tape off or something like that could happen. But man, if that's the way that both them sound addressing that, it's like the Spider-Man meme right there. But Puka Nacua, who I talked to yesterday, we'll play that conversation coming up for you in about 5 minutes. More trade rumors. How about Max Crosby? He was on his own podcast, The Rush with Max podcast. Max Crosby on his comments and everything that is now being speculated with the trade rumors.
They've started a whole
Movement?
pandemonium, a
It's
whole
a revolution.
movement, like a revolution. And it's like, I'm sitting here innocently just doing what I do.
Yep.
And I feel like, I got to address it with my teammates. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm not trying to leave. You know what I mean? I know it's a business. You know what I mean? I don't have 100% control, all that, but I want to be here. I want to be silver and black. I'll say it loud and clear. I want to be a Raider. I've said that over and over and over again. I know at the end of the day, just seeing all the craziness, it's been insane. You know what I mean? I can't even open my phone.
So, Stu, here's what jumps out to me about that. He goes, I want to be here, but I also know it's a business. That's kind of him saying, hey, I never said I don't want to be here, but if they trade me, it's somebody else's fault. Don't get mad at me. It's not my fault. So I'm not saying you could say he doesn't want to be there, but when you play it that way and you really want to be there, why would you even open up the door that you maybe won't be there? It's just the question that I kind of gathered from that.
That's fair.
Yeah. And I also saw, did you see this video of Stafford and Crosby after the game? Did you see that?
Yes, I look up to you type of thing.
Yeah, I looked up to you. I grew up watching you, and we all know where Stafford played most of his career at Detroit.
Yeah, he's from Michigan.
You don't want to go back home?
Yeah.
You don't want to go to Detroit? Brad Holmes, get the deal done. Get the deal done. All right, Nick Sirianni and Saquon Barkley had a little conversation on the sideline about chasing his individual rushing record and get a career high. This was the exchange between the Eagles coach and the Eagles star running back.
You're 13 yards away from your career high. I would love for you to get that, but that's up to you. I just don't want. I'm going to take out all the starters if they don't score.
You good? Let them eat.
You sure?
Yeah, good.
You sure?
I promise.
I'll listen to me. I want you to do it if you want to do it.
So I'd rather see the young boys eat.
So I don't know about you, Stu, and maybe I'm looking too much into this. And I think it's a good move by Saquon Barkley right there. The head football coach really knows that Saquon Barkley is closing in a football game on his career high. How many times does a coach afterwards, they have a record, he's at the podium, I didn't even know that was possible. The analytics people that smart in Philadelphia where they're like, hey, coach, by the way, Saquon needs 13 more yards to get that rushing high. Let me just go ask him. That to me was the fascinating part of that audio. So I didn't think that was something that Nick Sirianni would know in the middle of the game. But I guess the Giants think so much that you could do whatever you want. so you can get all that information. All right, this is a little bit long, and I want to get to it. So here is a conversation Antonio Brown had with Tom Brady. Listen up.
The older we get, we still stuck with our traumas for kids and like seeking therapy and how to deal with traumas because, you know, we just human beings and a product of what we go through and how people treated us. So that's how I've been trying to do. Yeah. Just trying to do some positive stuff. That's it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know, man. Fuck, we're all dealing with something. Life is like, no matter who you are, we all have our stuff we're dealing with. You know, it's
never perfect, right?
Parents and we're sons, and we had all our stuff growing up, and things that happened in elementary school and high school, and they all shape who we are. And it's not all roses for everybody. And I know what you went through, you know, a lot as a kid, and you know, your story through high school wasn't easy. You know what I mean? And you made a lot of great choices, and you made some things that were tough, but you know, hopefully you can overcome them. And
yes, sir.
You know, everyone wants to see it. You know, I just wanted you to succeed, man. I hope you always know that. I always wanted to see you succeed. That's all.
Man, you helped me succeed, man. You came and got me in the dirt, champ. Helped me be a championship, man. Be a part of greatness. Witness you be just so great as a leader, man, as a person. So I never took any of those things for granted, man. You always special to me. No matter the emotions I tried to portray, man, I only got respect for you and everything you did for me, man. So I always, as a man, you know what I'm saying, I got nothing but the utmost respect for you and just asking for your forgiveness, man. You know what I mean? That's it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You know, look, what's happened in the past is in the past. So, you know, whatever. And hopefully I get to see you at some point, give you a hug.
I don't think Brady knew that he was getting recorded there, number one, which just shows that Antonio Brown, even when he's trying to be remorseful, just does everything for clicks. And also, I know a lot of people like to give Brady crap. It shows you how good of a dude he is and why all his teammates rave about him. Antonio Brown was posting things about sleeping or trying to sleep with Giselle right after they broke up from their marriage, Brady and Giselle. If I was Tom Brady, I wouldn't give Antonio Brown a single second of my time. And Brady didn't even know he was recording, and he's having a genuine conversation with him. All right, last one quickly. High Heat with Christopher Mad Dog Russo on the MLB Network. Brian Cashman on the 15-year gap between winning pennants in the AL.
Give me your thoughts here of finally getting back and winning a pennant after a 15-year. I don't want to say drought, that's not fair, but you understand what I'm saying with the gap. How about winning the pennant? How does that mean to you? Let me hear.
It means a lot, and I hate the 15-year thing because it completely forgets and discounts that some other organization cheated us when we were all the way in the end. You know, if you knew what was going on, I don't think they would be advancing at that during that time thing. I think we would have been advancing. So I hate that 15-year thing because I don't think it accurately reflects history.
Yeah, stupid for Cashman, by the way, to bring that up now. The Astros shouldn't be on your mind. Go win the championship, and then if you want to drag Houston, be my guest. But to do that now before you even win the championship and you're 4 wins away, thought it was a really bad look for Brian Cashman there. Puka Nacua, our conversation with him next. Update time first. Here's the Act Man, Rich Ackerman.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
Oh, speaking of Rams receivers, Cooper Kupp off the injury report and will play tomorrow night against the Vikings. Jaden Daniels did not practice for the Commanders today because of his rib injury, and Jameis Winston will start at quarterback for the Browns this week with Deshaun Watson done for the year. Andy Dalton is out with a thumb injury after a car accident yesterday, and Bryce Young will start once again for the Panthers. Spencer Rattler expected to get another start for the Saints with Derek Carr still unable to go. The Chiefs have had trouble keeping their wide receivers healthy, so with the need at that spot, the defending champs have acquired 12-year veteran DeAndre Hopkins from Tennessee for a conditional pick, which could move up to a 4th rounder if they get to the Super Bowl. The Colts get a boost from the return of Jonathan Taylor back at practice, and he could play this weekend. They also opened the 21-day practice window for DeForest Buckner. After 2 games last night, there are 10 more on the NBA schedule tonight. Kenny Atkinson is back as a head coach, and this time with Cleveland. His Cavaliers will take on the Raptors in Toronto. J.B. Bickerstaff, formerly of the Cavaliers, takes over the Pistons, who will meet the Pacers in a couple of coaching debuts. Charles Lee now heads the Hornets, who will take on the Rockets, and Jordy Fernandez and the Nets will meet the Hawks in Atlanta. I'm Rich Ackerman.
The Infinity Sports Network is on your smart speaker. All you have to say is, play Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Alrighty, rocking and rolling. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. Pepsi has teamed up with the Los Angeles Rams and Puka Nacua to support a local restaurant, Casita del Campo, with a free community lunch hour and a $10,000 donation. And now joining us from the LA Rams is no other than Puka Nacua. Puka, I know it's been a while, but appreciate the time. How you been?
Man, I've been doing better. Life is good and feeling good.
Well, I appreciate you coming on. I've been very impressed with BYU, by the way. Jake and Kalani, they got the boys undefeated right now, 11th in the country. I know that's got to make you proud.
Yeah, everybody's looking great. Got to keep the streak rolling. They're playing good right now.
So obviously you're excited today because that 21-day window has been activated for you to return from injured reserve. Just kind of take me through your mindset right now, and obviously what was a positive step for you today.
Yeah, it feels great to be like moving normal again and getting back to, I guess, what I love to do and trying to do every day. So it's been fun to be working with our training staff and to continue like getting healthy and then being able to feel like I can move right in my body.
Yeah, obviously there's a physical side to it. There's a mental side as well. In my conversations in the past, you're an extremely positive person, but how have you been doing mentally through such the exciting season a year ago, ready to go for this one, having to deal for some injuries, and unfortunately you've been on the sideline for so far?
Yeah, injuries, I get like it for anybody, is definitely was a tough setback, but I feel like trying to stay involved and especially having guys like Coop and people that I've built their relationships with, especially like in our rookie class, like guys like Steve Avila, even though like he was injured, but building those relationships and finding the ways to still connect with the guys in the locker room or around the facility, because that's what I also enjoy in football is like being able to have the relationships with all the different walks of life that you have. But I definitely say it was a huge part of my teammates being able to help keep me up and then trying to keep me involved as much as they could as well.
Yeah, did you grow like tighter? I know you and Cooper Kupp have a good relationship. You guys unfortunately have both been out. So to be able to go through this together, not that it makes it easier, but does it kind of make it easier?
A little bit, yeah. Seeing guys like progress on their own, give you confidence. Seeing like everybody kind of like a healing room of like, man, when we're in the training room, everybody like come with an attitude like to improve and get better, because everybody wants to be out there on the field. Nobody wants to be laying down on the treatment tables while everybody else is playing football.
Puka Nacua here with us. We'll talk about the great work that you're doing with Pepsi in just a bit. So everyone wants to know: are you in play for Thursday against the Vikings, or is it probably more so next Sunday against Seattle?
I guess I'm not sure. My mindset has been one day at a time. I'm feeling good and feeling a lot better. Like we've been able to progress and feel definitely more confident. But one day at a time is, I guess, what I'm looking at. It's kind of weird. Yeah, I feel like I've been out. Yeah, it's looking at it like 6 or 7 weeks now. So it's like trying to come back and play football. There's so many nuances to it, and trying to feel the environment way each and every guy moves. But one day at a time is where I'm at right now.
Yeah, what do you want to prove? Whether it's this Thursday or next Sunday, but what do you want to prove when you get back on the football field about Puka Nacua?
Sure, I want less I guess about myself, and then just like to prove what our team is capable of. I feel like we were able to get a big win this past week against the Raiders at home, and we have an opportunity to, obviously in a quick turnaround, to play at home again. But to gain the confidence that we need to kind of coming off of our bye, and to gain the momentum headed into the back end of the season, and like just to be consistent. That's been one of the things that off of last year was I want to be consistent in every facet of the game, in the run game and the pass game, but making sure when I get out there that there wasn't a beat missed.
Yeah, this team is 2-4 to start off the year. You know that. You guys were my Super Bowl pick before the season started, but now you know what happens. You start off the year 2-4. You have all the injuries. People jump off the bandwagon. Why should people still believe that this Rams team can turn it around the rest of the way?
I think it's pretty. The only game that we had that was more than 7 points was the Arizona game, and being like, man, like most of these, like we're in nail biter games, and we have the opportunity to come in and execute and be close. It's just, I guess every game feels like it comes down to a third down conversion or something, trying to get a stop and stuff like that. So being able to play a complete game of 4 quarters and put it all together is something that I don't feel like we're very far from. So it's nice to feel like, man, like everybody's recognizing and taking the criticism to improve the right way. And I think that's a great first step in being able for us to improve and start winning these games.
Now, I saw a lot about the Rams today on social media, Puka Nacua. I saw Diana Rossini reported that the Rams had actually called multiple teams about potentially trading Cooper Kupp. When you hear something like that, how do you react to it?
I guess I hope that's not true. That's somebody in our locker room, a captain, and especially like being able to say somebody like I've grown a brother relationship with, and being able to be around him and to learn about his family and to learn about who Coop is outside of football. But then also to watch somebody who's influenced our locker room and then especially influenced my game, and in such a positive way, and being hoping that it's a vital piece that we're able to keep here.
It would be disappointing, right, if you found out that he got traded, I would imagine?
Yeah, 100%.
And then to throw another one at you, because this was the other rumor going around social media, Settleman from Snapback Sports said the Vikings and Rams have been in serious trade talks for Matthew Stafford potentially getting dealt. Have you seen that one?
No, I'm not too, especially since being hurt. I'm not well versed in the social media scene. So now I feel like, man, you might send me into a deep dive into the social media world, which probably won't be too good. But yeah, just two veteran guys who are core to what we're trying to do here at the Rams organization, and yeah, that wouldn't feel great.
But you guys got a lot of good players when everyone's healthy. How about the start to Kyron Williams? A touchdown in every game, man. He's been making me a lot of money this year with those anytime touchdown bets, Puka Nacua.
100%. Somebody like 2-3 is as consistent as can be and always getting ready to go downhill. And that's something I'm excited. Like when I get to go back and be like, man, when you block for that guy, you get rewarded for sacrificing your body, and be like, man, he's going to find his way to the end zone.
So I know giving back is very important to you. Tell me what you're doing with Pepsi to help the local community.
Yeah, family is a big thing for me, and especially community. Playing sports as a young kid, you realize that there are a lot of other people who are around, who support and are involved in the sports world. So Pepsi and Rams are teaming up. Again, I've had a chance to go visit this restaurant, Casita del Campo, down in Silver Lake. And it's a family-owned restaurant for over, I believe it's 60 years. And Robert is the owner of the restaurant, and super high energy guy. And he had a big smile on his face, and paintings, and just a family-friendly environment over there. And we're getting to do an hour of free lunch from 12 to 1 on Friday at Casita del Campo. I'll be out there kind of interacting with fans. We'll get to try some of the food. Everybody get to come out. And the Rams and Pepsi will be like, the first hour is free food. So hopefully everybody will pull up and come visit, get to hang out after the game and stuff like that. But enjoy some time at Casita del Campo, and to help give back in the community of people who are supporting the Rams, and then giving back to the community.
What's your biggest cheat meal? Just wondering.
Oh, my cheat meal. I love cookies. My mom's chocolate chip cookies are to die for. At least I think so. So that's one that I go. But the meal I had there was steak picado, I believe. Steak I eat a lot of red meat. So that was my go-to over there.
The last thing I'll ask you, and I appreciate you doing this today. So last time we talked, we were at the Super Bowl, and you were talking about how, hey, you were just trying to make the team, and you couldn't even have believed what ended up happening, and it was still hitting you kind of in the moment. When was the time this offseason where maybe you were sitting back and you just said, wow, I can't believe this is life now for me, and what happened in year number one?
Yeah, I guess it was time I got to spend with my family. In the moment of being like, man, my family getting to be out here in California and experience some of the moments of just going out, and then people are being like, man, like they'll stop and ask to take pictures or have a story of some fantasy football, or when they're like, oh, my son is one of your biggest fans, and to have like my family experience that like with me was exciting, and still like unreal, I guess, to them, because they still imagine me as the fat little kid, the crybaby, I guess, of the family. Sometimes they would say, but
yeah, those fantasy football owners are wondering Thursday or next Sunday. I'm sure you're probably getting that a lot in the streets these days.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, Puka, we appreciate it once again. Pepsi is teaming up with the Los Angeles Rams and Puka Nacua to support a local restaurant, Casita del Campo, with a free community lunch hour and a $10,000 donation. Excellent stuff. Puka, always great to catch up. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate you, Zach.
There he is, Puka Nacua, joining us. We had that conversation with the Rams wide receiver last night. Wanted to play it for you right there. Appreciate him carving out some time with us on what was a very busy day in the Rams universe yesterday, with trade rumors and reports from Diana Rossini about Cooper Kupp, then trade reports about Matthew Stafford with the Vikings and the Rams, and they play each other tomorrow evening. From Jack Settleman of Snapback Sports. So it was very timely that we did have Puka Nacua booked for a little conversation to tape after the show yesterday. Now, we put out some clips from that late last night because when you get stuff that's in the news, it's better to put it out than to just wait and wait and wait. And, that interview has been already written about all over the place online. We've had an issue with sourcing, Stu, this week. When I had that Jalen Watson report 10 hours before any other insider, and Ian Rappaport then had my report 10 hours later, which is fine. I like Rap Sheet, but, let's give Zach Gelb a little bone, a little credit. JPA Football, which is a big aggregator, they got 298,000 followers. Trending. Ram star wide receiver Puka Nacua spoke on the Cooper Kupp trade rumor, saying he hopes the team doesn't move on from Kupp. He told Zach Gelb. And on that link, it's a person named Zach Gelb who lives in the UK, sports and food enthusiast, one-off NFL insider. And what's the soccer team you love?
Liverpool.
What's the one? COI Coys?
Oh, come on, you Spurs. Tottenham. That's a Tottenham thing.
I guess he's a fan of them. I've seen that before.
That's unfortunate.
That guy, because this has happened before with JPA football when I've had things. So that's why I said a one-off NFL insider. He messaged me. He messaged me on Instagram, this guy, and he said, hey, you may recognize my name as the person getting tagged instead of you on Twitter. Thanks for giving me a small feeling of fame from the UK. Let me know if there's anything you'd like me to do to help you out. You do great content, by the way. Hashtag Go Bills. So good on Zach Gelb, our little sports talk radio show. That's a national show. Getting him some play on social media. Nice guy. I had a conversation with him today on social media. I said, you happen to have a good name. Appreciate you reaching out. I think my name's better, but, nothing's worse with a little Gelb.
What I don't get is, your name's a shorter one. I could see if, Gelb was your name and then they did Zach Gelb and stopped. The fact that, I don't know, it just doesn't make sense.
Dove Kleiman is not a real person. And, he, that account already got sold. JPA Football, I have no clue. You know who's the best aggregator? MLF Football. I know he exists. I've had some conversations with him, some DMs. Good guy. And he always tags us appropriately. Whoever this JPA Football is, learn how to tag something correctly, you clowns. Clowns. No, they'll probably aggro. Zach Gelb or call this clowns. I'm joking. I know you guys don't understand any kind of context with JPA Football.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
Away we go. Hour number 3 of our radio program. That's right. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. So we were talking about it earlier with Hot Take Hickey. And Hickey is a big advocate for the 12-team college football playoff. I didn't think they needed to go to 12. I was more so in favor of 4. And if you wanted to expand, maybe 6 or 8 max. Now, I am saying all this understanding that the 12 team is going to be extremely successful because you could put any form of football in front of us, and it doesn't matter if it's good or not. We will like it because of the fact that it's football and how much we live, we sleep, and we eat football, college and NFL in this country. But Hickey asked me a question, how many great teams are there in college football, and how many teams I could see win a national championship? And I'm like, hey, maybe 4 max, and I can give you 2, but the other 2 I'm going to have to begrudgingly give you. So in just a moment, Stu and I are going to do a draft where Stu's going to pick 5 teams, I'm going to pick 5 teams to win the national championship this year. But first, 855-212-4227, 855-212-4227. Mike in Vegas was listening, and he wants to talk about a 12-team college football playoff. Mike, what's shaking?
Hey, Zach. I just agree. I think the 8 was perfect. And if they go to 12, or at the 12, they're going to play those last 8 teams are going to beat each other up and then have to go play Georgia and Oregon and Ohio State. So that's my point, is they're going to get beat up. And it's, right now we like it. Oh, boy, 12, but we're going to go, wow, Ohio State just beat, Boise State 50-0, stuff like that. Anyways, I have an idea.
But you think Ohio State would beat Boise State 50-0?
Well, I'm saying after they get beat up, Boise's going to play who? They're going to play.
Gotcha. Okay, so they would play a team that would have a bye. Yeah, you wouldn't have Oregon and Ohio State because both are Big Tens, but, like let's say Georgia wins the SEC and Oregon wins the Big Ten. So those two teams would have byes, but after that, it's a conference champion that gets a bye spot. So it's going to be an ACC school standing there. It's going to be a Big 12 school standing there. The Big 12 has some good teams. I don't know if they have a team. They don't have a team that's on the Georgia or the Oregon level, and the same could be kind of said for the ACC. So I think it actually just depends on who you get.
They're going to have to play another game and then go play Oregon. They're just going to get whacked. That's what I think is going to happen. I think we're all excited, and then we're going to see, 12 is too many.
I don't know I know you just threw out Oregon, but if Boise State plays Oregon, Boise State should have beat Oregon this year. They should have. They only lost by 3 points when they played them. So I would actually like to see that matchup again. But what's your next point, Mike? And then I'll let you run.
Well, no. I just have an idea for the college system playoffs.
Okay.
And, I don't want to say it over the phone, but I was hoping to mail it to you one day and I put a lot of time into it. I think it's a really good idea. I want to mail it to you and just get your take on it one day.
You're going to mail me your idea for the college football playoff, is what you're saying?
Well, the whole 9 yards. You'll see. I've been wanting to mail it to you for a while. It's well thought out. It's all typed out. I don't want to say it because if you help me present it to the college football, I'm thinking it's worth $10 million. I'll give you half if you can help me get it done.
Wow. If you're a bad negotiator, Mike, I would have just taken like $1 million. It's your idea. $2 million. Fine.
It's all you. It's 50-50, bro.
Okay. Zach Gelb, 345 Hudson Street, the 10th floor, New York, New York. Send it to me. We'll even put you on hold if Samter wants to get your information, or you could get my address out there. I would love to know what this idea is. This coveted idea, Stu, that he can't even say it on the radio. He has to mail it to me. So this has to be a big, bold idea that he doesn't even want to put it out on the radio where anyone can listen to it. He has to mail it to me, have it reviewed to me, have me review it, and then see if I think it's valid enough. That's how much Mike trusts my opinion to then potentially present it to our very fine and astute listening audience. That's something.
Must be pretty great.
Yeah.
I was worried when he said, I don't want to say on the radio. My ears perked up. I was like, uh-oh, what is it? But then I'm like, no, it's just a really good idea, I guess, that he doesn't want stolen. That's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah, well, who are the dopes then running the NCAA that get paid a lot of money that can't figure out whatever Mike in Vegas's idea is right now? I'm fascinated by that. I really am fascinated by it. And if I could get $5 million, hey, we'll go out for dinner. I'll have a good dinner. Then I'll probably never see you guys again. I'm gone. $5 million, I am gone. I'll go do something else. I know it's not winning the lottery, but if I'm just getting a free $5 million, yeah, I can make a way for that to last or do something else. Well, I'll be going somewhere else if this idea hits. I'm going to hitch my wagon to Mike in Vegas. Maybe we will be co-commissioners of college football. Zach will move to Vegas to join Mike in Vegas. We'll have a lot of reservations at Piero's, and we will get Mike's brilliant idea.
Could watch a lot of Raider games in person, too, if that...
You actually think he's sending me something? Or
I think so.
I'm going to open it up, and it's going to be like, surprise! Something like funky. I wonder. I wonder on that. So I got to wear my Boise State sweatshirt, too, my Ashton Genty sweatshirt on the air. I tried that on the other day. Very comfortable. So I appreciate our buddy Jake sending us that. Wow. $5 million I'm going to get for just being a radio host. And some guy, Mike in Vegas, has this idea that's going to change the college football playoff. Very fascinated by it. You think it comes in like PowerPoint slides, or do you think it's like a thesis?
I think it's handwritten on like, what's that, like legal pad paper?
You know what? I actually had an inmate. This has to be now 3 years ago. Send me a letter. And it was multiple pages, but he ripped it up and then sent it in the mail, and it was all ripped up. I still have it in my mailbox because I want one day for someone to put the letter together. So that was the last, well, not the last time, but that was one of the times I got prison mail. So it was all ripped up. Ripped up. I opened it. I remember going to the Spike's office. I'm like, just got this letter. He goes, okay. I go, try to see if you can read it. I go, open it up. He goes, what the heck is this? He goes, did you throw this to a paper shredder? I go, that's how it came to me. So.
Like, what does that mean? Is there like a hidden message behind that?
Let me tell you, I don't want to know what. Like, I do want to know, but I don't want to know. Because if it's about me and there's some guy in the slammer that's really annoyed with me, like he hears a hot take when he's in the slammer that he didn't like of mine, and then like it's either, hey, I love you, you're the greatest thing ever, or I hate your guts. And when I get out of prison, you better watch it, you SOB talk show host. Okay? All righty, let's get to this draft right now, Stu. Go ahead, give me some music. All right. By the way, the college football music on ABC and the ESPN has been terrible. Terrible in and out of breaks. Can't stand it. Okay. Stu, you want to go first or second here? I'll give you the choice. I'm in a good mood today.
I will prefer to go second.
Okay, so you want
to... Because it's a snake draft, right? Yeah.
Maybe I should have said, yeah, it's a snake draft. I know we're just going 1 for 1 here. All right, I'm going first. You're right. Going 2 and 3 is better. Because you let me make the first move, and then I think everyone knows who the next 2 teams are. What's that coming down the tracks? Yeah, give me Georgia. It's the green machine in the red and black. Give me Georgia.
All right. With my first pick, I will go with Oregon. I think they're a very good team, and they have a chance to represent the Big Ten, so I will go with them first. And the second team, I will go with Texas. I think despite the loss, I think they still have a very good chance once we get to the playoffs, even if they don't have a bye. I think they can make some noise.
Okay. I am going to take, begrudgingly, who do you think I'm going with?
I think it's a certain Big Ten school.
It could be 2.
It could be 2.
I'm not taking
you're right.
both. I'm not taking both. Do you think it's the one?
I think it is the one.
Well, I really can't stand both of them.
I know.
So I'll ask it to you this way. Beard or no beard? Which one do you think I'm taking? That is the question.
I think you're taking beard.
I am. Ohio State. Even though that crying day can't coach himself out of a paper bag in a big spot, that team's got a whole lot of talent. And they did lose to Oregon. So, talent doesn't do everything. You still got a coach, but his team has no awareness down the stretch. That's a problem. So I'll go Ohio State. This is where it gets tricky after that. Because I don't trust James Franklin. If I don't trust Ryan Day in a big game, I really don't trust James Franklin in a big game. Holy smokes. This is PU Central. Because you already took Texas.
It's hard after this.
Oregon's off the board. I took Georgia. I don't love the ACC. I'm not going with a Big 12 school. I think I let you take an SEC domino and then see what remains. Are you effing kidding me? Remember when I just said I wasn't going to do it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I lied. We are taking
All right.
Penn State.
All right.
Ugh.
Don't feel great about yourself, do you? Ohio State and Penn State back to back.
I was between 2 other teams, and I know you're going to take both of them right now, and then I'm going to have no clue where to go from here.
Interesting.
This is honestly, this is the
disaster.
most stressful draft we have ever done. Because outside of Georgia and Oregon in college football right now, you know what? I'll answer Hickey's question this way. To win the national championship, right now today, I can only envision 2 schools. Georgia and Oregon. And then, like, if you maybe pick 2 more, I can't even give you I guess I'd throw Texas back in the hopper, but I would then put Ohio State. But how can you just, with what Ohio State did up against Oregon down the stretch in that game, with the quarterback and the coach not looking ready for the big moment, that was the whole thing this whole offseason. Is the quarterback ready in the big moment? Is the coach ready for the big moment? And their biggest game of the season up to date, they were terrible down the stretch. So Give me. I would love. I'm going to national championship game this year. I want to see Georgia and Oregon. That's what I want to see. Okay, who do you go? Sorry, I can't take Ohio State and Penn State and just treat that like everything's fine. It's not fine. It's terrible. I feel disgusting right now. I feel like I haven't showered in 3 days right now, and I just showered this morning. All right, what do you got?
All right, with my first pick, I will go with Miami. I think they have a...
Okay, thank you. I'm glad you took Miami.
Okay.
Because then it leaves one of the SEC schools open.
Yeah, I wasn't going to take both. I just think Miami, they have a very good chance of winning the ACC and getting a bye. Plus, they have arguably the best quarterback in the playoffs, perhaps. So I think they're at least I guess, somewhat decent bet.
Yeah, no, that's good. You got one more pick here.
Yeah, so obviously between the two SEC schools, I'll go LSU. I trust Brian Kelly a little more. That's all. That's the only reasoning really for it. Yeah, give me LSU.
This is ugly.
It's hard.
Like, this is disgusting. Alrighty, my next pick. So I have 2 picks here for 4 and 5. I'm taking, I guess, Tennessee. You know, I know they lost to Arkansas, and beating Alabama is not like this huge accomplishment this year. That defense is playing really well. I guess I would go here if you could get the first 3 games of the season, Nico Iamaleava, and he gets past some of these, young jitters, then fine. But that awareness this time has just been absolutely rancid. Last spot. Do you consider the 2 Big 12 schools, Iowa State and BYU, even Kansas State? As much as I want to consider Boise State here, they can make the playoff. They're not going to win it all. Notre Dame, they're not winning a natty. They should get in the playoff, but they're not winning a natty. You know what this is between now for me? It's between Clemson and Dabo. Ugh. And also A&M. And A&M lost to Notre Dame to start off the season. But that's a different Notre Dame team, or different A&M team now. And you know what? LSU off the board if A&M beats LSU this weekend. I know A&M plays Texas at the end of the year. A&M may not make the playoff, but if they do make the playoff, and this is my 5th choice, this is the slim pickings here. I'm not taking Alabama, who was my pick to get to the national championship game this year and lose to Georgia. Give me A&M.
Wow. So I have one more pick.
Indiana?
No. Oh. You've rattled off some of the schools.
Did I miss one?
No. I'm between Alabama squeaking in and somehow making a run, Clemson winning the ACC, getting a bye, and maybe there's a path there. I don't know. Yeah. I'm going to go Notre Dame. I think that, again, do I think they're winning a national championship? I'm not saying I think they're winning a national championship.
Homer Stew.
Riley Leonard has been a little better. They have a really good running game. We'll see. I mean, there's an outside chance they get a home game. Mm-hmm. If they win out and they finish 11-1, there's an outside chance of that. So maybe something crazy happens where they get a home game and then maybe they face the Big 12 or ACC winner. I mean, I don't know. Look, it's not going to happen, but I'll just go Notre Dame.
Disgusting.
It's so hard to
And
do.
I mean a disgusting exercise. So to win the national championship, Stu gets 5 picks, I get 5 picks. I started off with Georgia. Then Stu took Oregon, Texas. I then go Ohio State, Penn State. Yuck and yuck. Stu then goes Miami and LSU. I then take Tennessee and A&M, and Stu takes Notre Dame. The one school, it's weird to say this, that I feel wrong that we left off, Clemson. That's what I'll say. Now, with that being said, when you said Notre Dame, I had this vision, Stu. Have you thought of your Halloween costume yet?
You know what? It's tough. I have, but I don't have any good ideas. There hasn't been anything crazy in sports that have been viral.
Maybe you're a leprechaun after that Notre Dame pick.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
Last year with Mike McDaniel. That was good. Last year I was Connor Stallions. I will make an announcement. I did procure my Halloween costume for this year. I think my phone listens to me way too much because I got a few ads for this costume based off something that we've talked about on the show. And the third time I got the advertisement for it, I said, okay, that's what I'm going to be this year. And I ordered the costume. It is a onesie. It's a onesie. And the big fella looks pretty good in the onesie, I will just say. I ordered a onesie. I will not tell you what it is. I have tried on said Halloween costume. I look pretty damn good in it. I may need to do something to like the hood of the costume, because the hood of the costume, you remember what, does Maggie still do Advice Duck? Do you have any idea?
I'm not sure. But I do remember Advice Duck.
Remember when I tried, or no, was Perloff tried on the duck costume?
Yes.
And it looked like the hat had like erectile dysfunction, is I think what I said. I think I may need to wear a hat underneath the costume to kind of prop up the costume on top of the cabeza.
Interesting. Okay.
But I have procured my Halloween costume, and I ordered it one of the day after the Mets games that I went to that they lost. It was the game 3 because I didn't drink at game 4. And I was a little like hungover the next day. So from my bed, I ordered it, and I did like the Apple Pay, the quick pay where you just double tap on your phone online. And for some reason, it took my old parents' address. I don't know why. So I had to call up the people that we sold my childhood home to and said, hey, my mom's going to stop by. There's a costume for Halloween getting delivered to me. She then got a tour of the house and what they did to the place. And then my mom, when I went and saw her last weekend, I got the Halloween costume from her. So I had the Halloween costume. Something talked about on the show.
Okay.
Something show related. And it could be a little bit of a stretch, but I like the costume. But you have not thought about what you've going to do for Halloween.
And I'm looking at the date. I have 8 days, so like I probably need to do that the next day or two.
You know what's weird about it? It's like it was 80 degrees yesterday, and it was 70-something degrees today. It doesn't feel like it's almost the end of October. You know, when I was at those Mets playoff games, it didn't feel like it was postseason baseball, not because the crowd sucked. It's because it's 70-something degrees. So, Halloween outfit, dunzo, in the bag this year.
I'm jealous because now I got to put my thinking cap on and figure something out here.
I sent a selfie of myself in the Halloween costume to one person. Person said I look pretty cute in it. So I think it's a good Halloween costume. Think it's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with myself. Anyway, Zach Gelb Show, Infinity Sports Network. We will take a timeout. We'll come on back. I have a analogy for how Bronny James looked on the basketball court last night. I will give you that analogy next. But first, let me tell you about my friends at Sleeper, which picked up our Puka Nacua interview last night, which was nice. So we appreciate the folks at Sleeper. Football is back, and what better way to celebrate than winning some cash with Sleeper Picks? Sleeper Picks is a fantasy game, but you could win real money. Just pick more or less on at least 2 player stats. If your picks are right, you win. You can pick up to 8 players to win up to 100 times your money, and Sleeper has a couple huge offers to kickstart the football season. For new users, Sleeper will match your first deposit with up to $100 credit to your account. If you've already played, Sleeper's got discounted player projections for you every week of the season. So download the Sleeper app now and use promo code SCORE, that's S-E-O-R-E, and your first deposit will be double with a credit up to $100. What are you waiting for? Download Sleeper today and use code SCORE for a credit up to $100 match in your first deposit. That's code SCORE. Must be 18 years in most states and in state where it's legal. Promo code and other restrictions apply. Visit sleeper.com. Please wager responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-426-2537 for help. Paid for by Blitz Studios.
You're in a 4-minute break. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
You're listening to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
Alrighty, it is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. So, Stu, I have a little something to say about Bronny James last night. I was disappointed. There was such this build-up, right? It was kind of like a big show. You're waiting and waiting and waiting for him to be checking into the game with LeBron. You know that he doesn't deserve to be playing right now, but the Lakers had to eliminate the dog and pony show because if JJ Redick, I thought for a second, and you know what? I actually would have respected JJ Redick if he did this, if he just trolled us all and just never played him. Because I'm watching that, and then towards the end of the first half, they're like, okay, we're going to put Bronny in. And everyone's like, oh, this is the greatest moment ever. You have to love this. I'm not hating on the moment, but this idea like it's the most awesome thing that anyone's ever seen, like, come on. I thought it was a little bit of too much of a love fest last night. And Bronny comes in. You know, it is a cool moment, but it's not like the greatest thing I've ever seen. People's like, if this isn't the greatest thing you've ever seen, then I feel bad for you. I'm like, come on, guys. It's a very nice moment. It's a very cool moment. But most of us haven't seen Bronny play, right? Like most of us weren't watching USC basketball last year. in the times that he did play. People aren't watching Bronny in high school. Most of the time you've seen Bronny, it's been on quick, like TikTok reels, social media videos, things like that. The first thing that stood out to me, Bronny James looked like a child at the adult table during the holiday season. Like, sometimes when you go to someone's house, there's an adult table and there's a kid table. And maybe a kid will venture over to the adult table and you're like, oh, the kid doesn't belong. I know it was only 3 minutes, but how small and young Bronny James looked compared to everybody else on the court was alarming. And there's a ton of rookies, obviously, in the league. And they didn't look as young as Bronny James did look last night. I know we talked about Like Mike before on the show, but I kind of tweeted that last night as a joke. I'm going to tell my kids that Like Mike was about Bronny James just tying his shoes and saying, hey, be like LeBron. Because he looked like a kid amongst grown men last night. And Robert Horry said it to us yesterday, and I never even contemplated it, but he's 100% right. He should be going to the G League. He should be developing there. So this was Robert Horry with us yesterday on the show and what he said. What could we expect out of Bronny this year?
Yes.
Your answer is what?
One game, and then he's going down to the G League. I think they're waiting to have that moment that's never been done before in the NBA, father-son duo on the floor. And I don't think he's ready yet. So many guys are on that bench that need to play before him. So that's just how it is. It's not the fact that he can't play. It's just that people in front of him are better. I just think for the sense of they need to get it out the way. Get it out the way early. It's a national televised game. It's the first game of the year. Make it happen tonight. And so we can get it out of the way, and then you can go on about the business of basketball, because you think about it, Lakers they got it tough this year. So many teams around them got better, and they kind of stayed put. And so they need to get wins early so they don't be in a position of how they were each and every year of being in the play-in game. They're too old for that.
Will the ego of LeBron allow him to have his son get sent down to the G League, in your opinion?
Well, he has no choice.
That's the one thing I disagree with Robert Horry yesterday. LeBron does have a choice. I know that the Lakers have had some pushback with LeBron throughout the years. They didn't let him hire Ty Lue because Ty Lue wanted an extra year. There's been some pushback that they've given LeBron. But I don't think there's, however LeBron wants Bronny to operate is how the Lakers are going to operate this. So what did you make of it last night, Stu? Because you're a Laker fan.
Yeah.
I'm just watching it. But that was the most alarming part to me, how much smaller he looked than everybody. He looked just out of place.
Yeah, and there are players that are not every player is 6'5" and bigger. It was just weird. You're right. He did look small and out of place, and then it just looked kind of uncomfortable, like he wasn't in a flow. And it's tough on him. That's a tough moment to drop him in on. I'm just kind of glad it's over, to be honest. I think we got this, and then I'm not saying we won't see him again this season, but I don't think he's going to be a key part of the rotation, let's say.
Put it this way. Bronny James is listed at 6'2". Bronny James, he's one and done in college. He's 20 years old. Rui I know he's 6'8", but he's only 26. I know that's a difference. 6 years is a big difference. But, I'm watching last night, and even Rui looks young, but he doesn't look as young as Bronny James. You would have thought Rui was, 12 years older than him.
Yeah, definitely.
By the way that they look. You would have thought, Bronny was some, middle schooler, and Rui was getting ready to graduate, college, and he had, a super year or something like that, where he stayed a little bit longer. And you know what the crazy part is? The Bronny story kind of was talked about so much and became the game. No one's even talking about what happened. Your Lakers last night. No one's even talking about
They won. They didn't look half bad for once.
Yeah. Maybe, you know what? Robert Horry said to us yesterday that Anthony Davis is the best player in basketball. And since Robert Horry said that, which I disagree with him, and I told him it was Nikola Jokic, 36 points for AD. The Brow also had 16 rebounds, 4 assists, and he played 38 minutes. Maybe Robert Horry is on something, Stu. You got the best player in the NBA. And Anthony Davis, according to Robert Horry.
Yeah, he did look very good, but yeah, that's still a little puzzling to me.
So I was watching the game all by myself last night. I know you were watching the game with your girlfriend.
Yes.
How big of a basketball fan is your girlfriend?
Not really. I kind of convinced her that this was something to...
You have forced basketball on her.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. You should watch this. And then after, it was halftime, and then she just went to sleep.
Okay.
And I watched the rest of the game.
So actually, I'm enamored then by her opinion. Because of the fact she's not a basketball fan. And she's like an outsider just parachuting in to watch this historical moment of Bronny James and LeBron James, father-son duo, playing together in the NBA, which it was a cool moment. It wasn't the greatest thing I've ever seen. I thought Bronny James, right? People say he doesn't belong in the NBA. I have no problem with him being in the NBA. I think it's better for his development if he goes to the G League. I saw Kenyon Martin disagreed with that. I know Robert Horry said the G League with us yesterday. Kenyon Martin was like, nope. You got guys in the G League that are 28, 29, 30. They're just going to go after him. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be brutal. Well, if you can't survive that, then you shouldn't be in this spot. But last night, that was the thing. I just was looking at it. I'm like, this looks like a middle schooler being dropped into the NBA. Like, that's how much of the age difference it looked like on the court and how small Bronny looked compared to everybody else. And he's got to hit that three-pointer, too. That would have been such a cool moment and made so much fun on social media. It would have been just such an awesome moment if he made that three-pointer. But what was Angie's thoughts when watching the game last night?
She had two thoughts. Her first reaction was, he looks very little.
No.
Little. She used the word little.
Little.
And then she was like, is he not very good? He doesn't look like he's very good. And
there you go.
That's kind of, yeah.
You know what? We may have to do a segment with Angie. I saw Pat McAfee. Did you see what happened with Pat McAfee today? Did you?
No.
He took to social media. He was crushing his own company, ESPN. He's like, you would think we could get a basketball guy on, whenever we want. But with the ESPN basketball people's schedule, it doesn't line up with our schedule, and they're making it very difficult. So he was soliciting for a regular basketball guy or gal, just someone to talk basketball with. I recommended Antonio Daniels because I think he's phenomenal. But maybe we recommend Angie now.
Maybe.
Before we even get Angie will become such a superstar that we can't even get her on. But after her basketball opinions, I think we have her watch this year with you, Stu.
Oh, she's not. I don't think this is going to be a normal occurrence.
I can't even get that commitment?
I don't know.
Okay.
She's more, she's very into baseball and hockey. Mm-hmm. And she's starting to get more into football. Yeah, she's a very big Mets fan.
Yeah.
Yes. She's starting to get more into football where she likes it more now. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I can convince her to watch regular season NBA.
Okay. If she has any good takes about the NBA season. Yes. Love to get her on the line. She'll parachute in our show. And her take so far, it's a 1-for-1 take.
Oh, she has another take.
Is it about me?
No.
Oh, okay.
Basketball take.
Okay.
She said...
Wait, can I get... What does it have to do with?
It's very obscure.
Okay, so just go ahead.
Trae Young is very annoying.
Do you think that's because just living in New York, she's heard the F Trae Young chants before?
I think that, and I think it's been more in her, in her Instagram and Twitter algorithm, if you will, that there's more Trae Young stuff in this area because of that.
Because the phones are listening to people say F Trae Young, and then she's like,
probably picks up on it, exactly.
Mm-hmm. So her feed is what? Taylor Swift? Probably a little Mets baseball?
A lot of Mets. It's a lot of Taylor Swift and Mets.
Taylor Swift, Mets, cats probably.
Yes,
because I know she's a big cat person.
Yes.
Photos of Stu.
Yeah.
And now probably Trae Young and Bronny James.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting feed. She reality TV gal?
Yeah, she likes it's Love is Blind is one of them.
Yeah.
We both watch Bachelor and Bachelorette.
Okay.
So those are kind of
So maybe we do this. Stu parachutes in for the Bachelor or Bachelorette takes, because I'd be fascinated by your takes, sporadically. Angie parachutes in for basketball takes this year.
Think we can make it happen?
Yeah, I think that'd be some good show content. All righty, this is Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network, but then we'll lose your girlfriend to the Pat McAfee Show, where she'll be his basketball insider. All righty, we'll come on back. A very interesting story when we return. One that I have heard happen to regular folks before, but not NFL players, even though we're all regular folks in some regard. We will get to that NFL story when we come on back. Update time first. Here's the Act Man, Rich Ackerman.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
Well, the Chiefs are thin at wide receiver and hoping to get a boost from 12-year veteran DeAndre Hopkins, acquired from the Tennessee Titans for a conditional pick that can become a fourth-rounder if they return to the Super Bowl this year. Jaden Daniels was held out of practice today because of his injured ribs, while Jameis Winston will start at quarterback for the Browns this week following the season-ending injury to Deshaun Watson. Bryce Young gets the call for the Panthers this weekend with Andy Dalton nursing an injured thumb suffered in a car accident yesterday. Derek Carr still sidelined, so Spencer Rattler gets another call for the Saints, and Cooper Kupp will return for the Rams tomorrow night. He is off the injured list. Also, DeForest Buckner is close to returning for the Colts, who opened up his 21-day practice window, while Jonathan Taylor also back at practice today and could play this weekend. 4 teams open the NBA season last night. 20 more will do the same tonight. The 10-game slate opens with the Pacers and Pistons in Detroit, which has a new head coach in J.B. Bickerstaff. Kenny Atkinson now in charge of Bickerstaff's the former team, the Cavaliers, who will be in Toronto. And a couple of head coaches make their debut. The Nets are in Atlanta playing for the first time under Jordy Fernandez. Charles Lee takes over the Hornets, who will face the Rockets. I'm Rich Eccles.
The Infinity Sports Network is on your smart speaker. All you have to say is, play Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Hey, this is Howie. And this is Nick from the Backstreet Boys. And you're listening to the Zach Gelb Show. And guess what? Zach is back. All right.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
Oh my God.
Time to answer Ask the Pros question of the day, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Jim and Erie says, Zach, if you just got fired, that's nice, as an NFL head coach, okay, would you immediately go back to work? You could submit a question by tweeting at INFSportsNet or at Zach Gelb using the hashtag AskThePros. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly Auto Parts. So I don't know if you guys saw this, but Robert Saleh, he was at Packers practice today. And I saw my man Ari Murov from My Sports Update put a clip out there of Matt LaFleur speaking to the media. And the gist of it is basically Robert Saleh is working with the Packers, contributing to the offensive side of the ball by using his strong defensive knowledge. Matt LaFleur said he told Saleh to take a break and go to the beach or something, but this shows how much Saleh loves football. Okay. To answer the question from Jim and Erie, if I just got fired, I think it's actually healthy for coaches to maybe take a full year off and reset and recharge your batteries. Now, with that being said, I could see how antsy you are when you wouldn't want to take a full year off. But to get fired in season and then 2 weeks later, join another organization and another staff to help contribute, Robert Saleh, what are we doing? You know, you have a football addiction problem. Take some time off. You're sitting on all this money. Enjoy your family. Clear the mind a little bit. You don't need to be helping out the Packers offense. And you know what? Let me tell you something. Jordan Love, whatever Robert Saleh says, do the opposite. And I do think there is some value. You have a defensive-minded coach where he could give the quarterback some insight on what you may see from the defense. But that defense this year with Robert Saleh leading it was overrated. And not only that, they never had any offensive success with Robert Saleh as the HC of the NYJ. Could you imagine, Stu? Oh, my God. You want to know what's going to happen?
What we got?
Packers are going to win the Super Bowl. Because then Saleh's going to get a ring. And will torment the Jet fan. Couldn't you hear our pal Joe Benin go, bro, are you kidding me? This guy Saleh? He has a Super Bowl ring now before I see another Super Bowl? Bro. That's what's going to happen. Book it. Robert Saleh with the Green Bay Packers Super Bowl ring. Now, how about this developing story? So I'm reading it off Bleacher Report. Here's the headline. Cowboys Brandon Aubrey misses practice to attend jury duty before the 49ers game. So the Cowboys play the 49ers this weekend. And here's the story. The Fort Worth Star-Telegram Nick Harris reported Aubrey's status for Sunday's game against the Niners is unclear. He was chosen for a 12-member jury in a felony case where the defendant is facing a third-degree strangulation charge. Per Harris, Aubrey insisted on fulfilling his duty when the Cowboys tried to pull him away from his jury service. It is expected that he will return on Thursday or Friday, and also that the former football playing judge will work with Aubrey with his football schedule, Harris wrote. With the way this season has gone for the Cowboys, Aubrey's services will be called upon at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, California, assuming he's available. Now, few things. Number one, Stu, how many times have you been called for jury duty?
I've gotten in the mail 3 times, but I have never actually had to go. I've gotten like the call the night before saying you don't have to show up.
Okay. So I am terrible at one thing. I get told something like important information. If I don't write it down and I know I'm going to need to know that information one day, like years later, I'm kicking myself. I forget when I last had to go to jury duty, but you leave. I was doing weekend overnights at the time. But when you leave, they go, okay, you don't have to come back until this date. You know, this is when the next date you'll be eligible to get potentially called back. I don't remember when the date is. So I know what's going to happen. That's lurking. That is lurking. That's going to be coming right around the corner. Because I was doing weekend overnights in what? 2017, 2017, 2018-ish? It's got to be soon, right? I feel like it's probably every 5 years would be my guess.
I was going to say, I don't think it's like a 10 or 15-year thing.
Yeah, I think it's like every 5, right?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Going to get that in the mail tomorrow.
Now that you said that, though, I'm sure I'm going to get one in the next few weeks here. Maybe all of us will get one at the same time.
So I've never had to actually serve on a jury. One time I got told I don't need to show up. The other time I sat there the entire day and they were like, okay, your number didn't get called. You could go home. But there's so many people that walk up and they have an excuse on why they can't do this, why they need to be just thrown out, blah, blah, blah. Like, if you're Brandon Aubrey, why the heck do you want to do this? And I know it's your civic duty to serve. Oh, come on. Can we save the baloney for everybody? And the judge is a former football playing judge? So now he's going to work with Brandon Aubrey, I guess, so he could go kick for the Cowboys? I like the Cowboys, actually, against the Niners, up until I heard this story. I actually thought the Cowboys could upset the Niners. Is Aubrey going to be able to have a clear mind? Or is he going to be thinking about the strangulation case that he's got to kind of rule on? And not only that, you know, I know the courts, I don't think they're open on the weekends. But as it was pointed out, Samter, you know, when it's usually this serious of a case, the jury is sequestered. If I am the attorney for whoever this guy or gal was that allegedly may have strangled someone, I'm getting a credential and I'm sending that person to the Cowboys locker room to like update him on the case and like give an opinion on the case, like hire some bozo to do that, because you're not supposed to entertain any of those things. You're not allowed to get the outside noise affect you when you're ruling on this. So that's a weird story, but Stu, it seems like Jerry Jones would be fun. Jerry the Juror the Jerry would be interesting. But, like, the Cowboys could have got him out of this, it seems like. Why didn't he just take the get-out-of-jail, no pun intended, the get-out-of-jail-free card here?
Sounds like he really wants to do it.
Why?
I don't know.
Like, let's say...
If I can get out of it, I would take getting out of it.
Yeah, I kind of think the next time I get called to jury duty, I think I'm just going to say, hey, I host a radio show. I don't think I could prevent myself from talking about this case on the air. I just don't think it's physically possible in me. And they'll be like, all right, let's get this wacko out of here. Or the judge will then be like, are you serious? Shut your mouth. You're not talking. You're staying here for about 3 weeks. That'd be miserable. Ugh, getting caught up in one of those cases. Out of something that is asked upon you in this country, man, that's one of those things. I know some people are like, oh, it's proud to help. Lend a helping hand. I want no part of that. Absolutely no part of that. Especially when it lasts for like days and days and days or weeks and weeks and weeks. Zero part of it. But now, Stu, karma's going to hit us. Karma is the guy on the jury bench.
Yeah, exactly.
We are both going to be sitting there one day, and it's going to be soon. Because I think it's maybe every 5 years or so. I don't know. But I haven't got that in a while. Now, do they compensate you? Like, would I have to take off days? Yeah, I'd have to take off days?
I think there's jury duty days. I that's what I thought.
Let me tell you something. I'm going to put a clause in my next contract. If I ever get called for jury duty, they do not take my personal days away. Because I ain't giving this company, as much as I love this company, a single off day, that I'm not actually taking off for myself. If I take an off day for jury duty, geez Louise, it'd be terrible. All righty, that's the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. Big thanks to Hot Take Hickey for joining us in studio. Big thanks to Puka Nacua for joining us as well. Thank you to Stu. Thank you to Samter. And we will be back mañana, everybody. The quarterback at Army, undefeated, top 25 team in the country. Bryson Daly will join us tomorrow. So we're looking forward to that conversation as we will hear about his daily routine with all the great things that he does, not only on the football field, but also throughout our great country. All righty. Fun show. You could always hit us up, 855-212-4227 if you ever want to participate, or find me on social media at Zach Gelb, Twitter, Instagram, X, ZACHGELB. I think I'm going to retire this shirt. Going to put it up in the rafters after the show. Just a little too big. All righty. Talk to you tomorrow, everybody, at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. We out. Bye-bye. Peace.